Welcome to the Krug Show. Fire up the band, but man, that was not good. Niners lose. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Check them out at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend Anthony Catania is down there at 831-521-5264. And this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show, and we'll talk more about Better in a bit. All right, we're getting it rolling here. Rye was at the game. Kev's hanging out. I don't know where he is, but he's hanging out. Danny's in the room. And a lot of people are pissed off, and they should be, because that was embarrassing. That was a bad game. I mean, I talked about it on the pregame. I did a video about it this morning. I got really, really uncomfortable watching the Rams' vertical speed and looking at no Puka, no Cooper Kupp. They were going to go to their verticals. And the Niners have got one of the slowest secondaries I've ever seen. It's a very, very slow secondary. And sure enough, when the money was on the goddamn table, the Niners could not stop the vertical route when it mattered most. That's really it. They give up a 50-yard bomb when the money was on the table because they don't have any vertical speed in their secondary. Mix in more special teams screw-ups, a missed field goal. LA got a first down and eventually a touchdown off a fake punt. Xavier Smith, with all the money on the table, has a 38-yard punt return to set them up in the fourth quarter for the game winner. And on a day where the Niners had almost 100 more yards, 391 to 296, they lose. They lose to the Rams, and they lose by 3. Purdy completed 22 of 30. 3 touchdowns. He also had a fumble. He had a 137.1 quarterback rating, and sacked just the one time, but he did have the fumble. The Niners had too many penalties, 7 penalties for 111 yards. Niners ran it all right, 34 times, 4 yards a pop, though a lot of that success came later. Mason really struggled to run against the Rams in this game. And it was all Juwan Jennings, 11 catches for 175 and 3 touchdowns. Ayuk is still not Ayuk. Ronnie Bell is probably going to get cut. And the 49ers didn't do enough as far as rushing the quarterback. 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Just wasn't enough. And they lose to this Rams team, a team that they should have beaten. And they let them hang around, and they made just enough mistakes. And what can you say? I mean, they got burned on the verticals. I mean, seriously, we can talk about other things, but as soon as Stafford got the ball back at the 45-yard line, right about the 2-minute warning, first play, they went up top against Mooney Ward because Mooney can't run with Tutu Atwell. Boom, 50 yards. Next play is 1st and goal from the 5. That was the ball game right there. The Niners were susceptible to vertical routes. You saw it in week 2 against Jefferson, and you saw it again. And when somebody can go up top on you, the league notices and they say, okay, we're going to go up top on them. So get ready for more vertical routes. And that wasn't the only one. That was the only vertical route that actually was caught, but there was also penalties on vertical routes. There was a couple other penalties. I mean, Stafford to Parkinson, isolated on Devondre Campbell. Devondre Campbell cannot cover. Huge PI penalty there on the first down on the final drive. That brought it down inside the red zone, and Cardi comes on for the 37-yarder. Thanks for coming. 27-24. 1-2 Niners take on the Patriots next week. That was a bad loss. We welcome in Dan Cochimilio, Kevin Kruger. What do you guys think, guys? So give me your rundown on this.
A couple quick thoughts. First of all, as you mentioned, Ronnie Bell's got to go. He's dropped way too many passes, 2 or 3 today, plus other games every time he he's in, he drops an easy catch. Secondly, I just want to say I think Brock Purdy may have shut up hopefully, some of the haters who says he can't play without his weapons. The guy was 22
he was incredible.
73%, 3 touchdowns, 292 yards, almost 10 yards per pass attempt. He was 9.7 yards per reception. No interceptions, 137 passer rating.
He ran when he needed to run.
And his dive there at the end, I mean, it was enough to get Moody into field goal range, and Moody just cut it left. He didn't, the ball was straight. He just aimed wrong because it never was good. It's just frustrating because the Ronnie Bell drop at the end of the game, beautiful pass by Purdy.
Dime. Just an absolute dime. Put it right on his hands.
And he catches the ball. The ball game's over. Niners run out the clock and kick a field goal with 3-4 seconds left instead of the Rams kicking the field goal with 3 or 4 seconds. Totally different outcome if Bell catches that ball. So it's frustrating because the narrative will be tomorrow, Purdy can't win without his weapons.
I mean, there's a lot of directions we could take this, but just an absolute gut punch loss. You outpassed them, you outrushed them, you outreceived them, you outsacked them, you outpass deflected them, you outpass rating them. I mean, you did everything, and they still win the game on the last play. They take the lead for the first time. It's so frustrating. And Ronnie Bell, absolutely disgraceful. 2 key drops, one that would have set them up to win the game. Terrible drop. Brandon Ayuk, I mean, come on, dude.
Jeez,
it's just like he is a shell of himself. And Juwan Jennings stepped up in a major way. 175 yards and 3 touchdowns. Brock Purdy, 22 of 30, 292 yards and 3 touchdowns, 137 passer rating. And you still lost the game to this 0-2 Rams team. I mean, it's just disgraceful. It's honestly, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Yeah. I mean, he looked like Jennings looked like the $30 million receiver. Ayuk looks like the $10 million receiver. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Jennings was spectacular. There's no question about it. But I mean, I hate to say it, but Ronnie Bell's got to go. And that sounds harsh, but you know what? When you don't run fast, you have to catch the ball. They threw him 3. He caught 1. All right. And unfortunately, when you're not big and you're not fast, you got to catch. And he's not big and he's not fast. If I'm going to have a guy who's not going to catch, I don't need a guy who can't catch who runs 4.6. I need a guy who runs 4.3, 4.2. If a guy can't catch, I can find guys who can't catch who can run much faster than that. So, unfortunately, Ronnie's on the roster because he's got great ball skills and he's caught the ball really well at Michigan and can't. That's it. End of the road. You can't have a guy on your team that can't run and doesn't catch the ball. When you can't run, you got to catch every ball, and he didn't. And it's the end of the road. So, I mean, I hate to say that, but they need more speed. They need more dynamic playmakers. I would have loved to have seen Jacob Cowing get 3 targets. Instead, they went to Ronnie Bell.
Where the hell was Jacob Cowing? Where the hell was Jacob Cowing this game?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I mean, you got Tre'Davious White, who's one of the slowest corners in football right now, and you have Jacob Cowing, and he doesn't get any run at all. And I wonder if Kyle and John are on the same page on this one, because John said on the KNBR on Friday morning, expect to see more of Jacob Cowing. I went and asked Shanahan at the presser like an hour and a half later, you think we'll see more Jacob Cowing? He's like, I don't know, maybe. So it's like, well, John sure seems to think we are. The guy who drafted him thinks he was going to play. I thought John and Kyle were total lockstep on this stuff. So, I mean, that was a bizarre one. But yeah, I mean, Ronnie Bell. I mean, I thought Saubert had a couple of really nice blocks. Juszczyk had a couple of really nice blocks. We even saw Garendo have some nice carries. You know, he had a 6-yard run. He had 5 carries for 19 yards. His instincts still don't look like they're running back instincts, but still he got some run today. And Brock Purdy threw 3 touchdowns, only was sacked 1 time, ran around a few times, had 10 rushes in this game for 41 yards. So Brock was running for his life at times. He was making things happen. Juwan Jennings is just the ultimate badass. 12 targets, 11 catches for 175 and 3 touchdowns, as opposed to Ayuk, who had 10 targets and caught half of them. Jennings caught 11 of 12. Ayuk caught 5 of 10.
And 2 of which hit him in the fucking hands. It's like,
right.
Yeah. And then the other run, Purdy had 10 runs. 11 might have sealed the game. It was 3rd and a foot, and they ran it instead of a quarterback sneak, which had been successful. I don't think they've stopped Brock on a quarterback sneak in his career when he's gone for a first down. And Kyle elected to run it, lost 1.5 yards, 2 yards, kicked the field goal, put them up 24-14. They were down around the 10, 12-yard line, and it was 3rd and a foot. And just sneak it. I don't understand. They were sneaking it earlier, and that play cost them the end of the drive. And you had to go for the field goal because it put them up 2 scores. It would have been risky to go for it 4th and 2. But keep the ball going, keep it moving, keep the clock running, and just a lot of little things that they're going to have to clean up. To me, Ayuk looks completely out of shape, like he didn't even work out on his own or something. The guy has no separation. Even the last play of the game on that crazy kickoff, if Ayuk's in shape, I think he catches that ball and runs it down the sideline for a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought LA got away with a couple of really bad roughing the passer plays. They had one where they toppled Purdy pretty good and no call at all. The Niners sideline went crazy. Yeah, tough game. Seriously, Niners take the first, for those who missed this thing, the Niners take the first drive down the field. First drive, they move from their 30 all the way down the field. 3rd and 3, Mason runs for 7. Purdy goes play action to Juwan Jennings, and it's 8 plays, 70 yards. Niners up 7-0, 4 runs, 4 passes, perfect balance. Everything's good early, right? Rams go 3 and out on the first possession. Niners on the second possession. They get the drive continues because of a couple of penalties. And they move the ball down the field and they score another touchdown. Purdy finds Jennings on a 4-yard score to make it 14-0, 13 plays, 8-minute drive. And you're thinking total domination. Hargrave got a sack on the next series, and you're thinking, man, maybe the Niners are going to absolutely run LA out. But it just wasn't that way. It just, the Rams, Stafford found Kyron Williams, who somersaulted into the end zone to cap a 16-play drive. That was the drive? I think that was the drive that was aided on was that the Pooney play? Was that the Pooney? There was a penalty against Pooney, I believe. He was illegally downfield. But I thought, though, anyway, that the Niners went up 14-0, and it looked like, okay, they're going to dominate. And the Rams get back into the game. Then Trent Williams goes down with the left calf. Did he come back? What was his status in the second half of this game?
He had cramps. He came back.
He came back, though. He came back.
Yeah.
Purdy had the strip sack against Byron Young. That obviously hurt. The Niners were up 14-7 in the second quarter when that happened. And that was a bad play where Byron Young beat McKivitz and he beat him like a drum and got in on Brock and caused the fumble. But then you had Collins with the big sack on the next series, and the Rams couldn't score, and they go into the locker room, and it's 14-7 at halftime. And I was feeling pretty good at that point, especially when the Rams came out in the third quarter, and Jair Brown had a great play on 3rd and 5 to stuff. Was it Parkinson, I believe? Where he punched the ball out on the 3rd and 5 pass from Stafford to Parkinson, which caused the Rams to punt. So I'm thinking, okay, Niners are up 14-7. They get the ball back. They drive the ball all the way down the field. Purdy with just a dime of dimes to Jennings. Just the out and up kind of fooled the Rams DB, and that made it 21-7. And I'm thinking, okay, 21-7. JJ at this point's got over 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then the Rams started doing what I feared they were going to do. 1st and 15 on the second play on their 6th drive in the third quarter. Stafford goes deep down the field. It's Atwell on Yadam, and sure enough, PI. 48-yard PI penalty. That hurt. That hurt a lot because the Rams would go on and score. Williams went in from a three yards out to make it 21-14. And he went untouched, by the way. 1st and goal from the 3 goes untouched into the end zone. And that was after the Renardo Green defensive hold penalty on 3rd and 1 extended the drive. So then they're down 21-14, and you're thinking, okay, there's 3:47 left in the third, but Purdy comes right out. He go right back at Juwan Jennings. Big play for Juwan. Mason had a nice run. He goes to Juwan for 14. Then he threw that pass to Ronnie Bell another pass to Ronnie Bell that he dropped on 2nd and 4. But then on 3rd and 4, and this was, I thought, maybe Purdy's best play of the game. He scrambled, he fakes out the defender, and then dives for the first down on 3rd and 4 at the 32-yard line. And still that drive stalled. And they settled for the Jake Moody 26-yard field goal, but they're still up 10. And I'm thinking, okay, the ball game's over. It's 4th quarter. But no, the Rams drive down the field. Cardi kicks a 33-yard field goal to make it a 7-point game. And, the Niners, Moody misses the 55-yard field goal on the next drive. And that's it. I mean, seriously. Immediately, Stafford goes up top to Tutu Atwell against Mooney, 50-yard pass, and they score to tie the game. And then Ronnie Bell has the key drop on 2nd and 10, and they get the ball back. And, once again, Campbell with the terrible PI, and Cardi kicks the field goal, and the Niners lose. So I feared the verticals. I really feared the verticals. And I know they only completed the one to Atwell, but when you look at that other big penalty, it was a 48-yard penalty, another one caused by Atwell's speed. Get ready for this, man, because when teams see that you can't defend the vertical, you get nothing but it. I mean, you're going to get teams going up top all year on you now because they're going to look at that Minnesota film, and they're going to look at this film, and they're going to say, Jefferson can do it, Atwell can do it, we can do it. So,
I mean, yeah, let's be real. The defense crumbled in this game, especially in the second half. They were dominating in the first quarter, dominated the beginning of the second quarter, and then the last 4 drives of the game, you just can't. They score every single drive. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if they're getting tired, but you're playing a Rams team that's missing Kupp, missing Nakua, all the backup wide receivers, and you can't stop Stafford. So I'm not sure what the answer is, but the secondary is getting toasted right now. Just absolutely toasted.
Not enough speed. Their secondary is molasses slow. I mean, just go look up the 40 times of all the guys that play in the secondary for the Niners. Fonga, slow. Like we're talking about 4.7, really slow. Jair Brown ran in the 4.6s. He's not fast. They don't have a bunch of guys who are burners. They have, guys who are good cover guys who are good football players, but they lack vertical speed collectively. And you just watch Minnesota go over the top. And then today, you just watch Stafford go over the top. And I said this to London Copeland in the pregame. I'm like, the verticals are going to kill this team because they cannot defend them. They don't defend them with poise. They either, they freak out and they grab somebody, defensive hold, automatic PI, that kind of thing. Or they just can't run with them. And guys just run on by. It's a major, major problem. All right, let's hit some supers and we'll get into it a little bit more. West Bay Niner Talk says, don't ever want to see Ronnie Bell out there again. I know that sounds harsh and people will be like, oh my God, now you guys are all dumping on Ronnie Bell. No,
it's a trend. It's a trend. He did this in the preseason. This has been a trend with Ronnie Bell. And I feel like the only reason Kyle Shanahan's playing him is because he has some seniority over Cowing. And it's like, dude, let's get to the good guy. Let's get to the guy who can actually make the play. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Save me your frat house pecking order and don't, but I understand that Ronnie Bell, and Ronnie Bell's here because he's got good ball skills. So if he doesn't have good ball skills, he's not going to be here. It's just simple as that. And those are not good ball skills.
He's
He
like Juwan
demonstrated
Jennings
today.
if Juwan Jennings couldn't catch. Like he's not a burner. He's not quick. Like he's supposed to be the gritty tough guy that makes the tough catch. And if he's not going to do that, he's absolutely trash. I mean, he's just trash. So
the big 25 says hold Shanahan accountable. Ultimately, it's all he's got to be accountable for all of it. He scored 24 on the road against this Rams team. What I don't like is that Arizona ran for 5.3 a carry or 5.8 a carry. Detroit ran for 5.3 a carry. Niners 4.0. So is that on Shanahan? Is that on Forrester? Is it on the Niner O line? Is it on Mason? All I could, or the Rams suddenly get better.
I'd put it on the O line because Mason was just getting eaten up in the first half. He was running for 2.5 a carry in the first half, and the 49ers offensive line was just getting blown off their marks by Jared Verse, Byron. I mean, Byron Young. I mean, it's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but he kind of wreaked havoc on this game. Like he was in the backfield a lot. 49ers offensive line is definitely a concern.
No question. No question. Jason Schrank says, Larry, what do we do about the Butterfingers Bell? I mean, I hate to say it. It's simple as that. To Big 25, 30 million man drops lateral at the end of game. News at 11. Coes SG or ZG. Purdy and Jennings were the only two that seemed to care. Bell should be cut. Secondary has been suspect for a while. Should have been addressed a long time ago. Shanahan will never win a Super Bowl. Sounds like maybe a guy who works at Hallmark. Travis Stewart. Bell, nice knowing you. Krug, you could have caught that ball. Thank you. Probably not. I mean, I'm 54 at this point, but a young Larry Krueger.
But dude, like those are ridiculous. Like we complain about catches in the NFL.
I think he was joking. I don't think he really.
I know. But I'm
don't
just
get mad just because somebody said I'm athletic.
But I think some people are gonna be like, "Oh, you're going too hard on Ronnie Bell." Like, dude, if it hits you in the hands, like the way it hits you in the hands, like that's one of the worst drops I've ever seen in my entire life. There's no.
Do you have a good mailman if your mail is in your driveway and not in your mailbox? No. The mail's got to be in the mailbox. Seems simple enough. Are you just going to fire the mailman because your mail is in your driveway? Yeah, because it's supposed to be in the mailbox. I'm gonna cut a receiver.
Analogy.
I'm gonna cut a receiver who can't receive. All
right. Who's coming up? Is it going to be Trent Taylor or is it going to be
Terrace Marshall? Paging Terrace Marshall. He's bigger. He's faster. He's stronger. He's better. He has better hands. He's in your locker room. Something tells me you can get him. I think you might be able to get Terrace Marshall.
He's on the practice squad, Larry.
Yeah.
Marshall. Okay,
today.
So they got Martin and Tay Martin and
no Tay. Big play Tay's gone.
Okay, he's gone. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
He's gone.
So Marshall,
we have this one here. Smack Jones _919. Don't play your picks. Special teams still trash. Old linebackers think that can't cover a spare tire. No Saint Nick sighting. Same shit, different year. All right. It's a series of thoughts. We appreciate that. Lamb, your leader. I am your leader. I am your leader. Says leave Campbell and Bell at the airport.
Dude, Campbell had the terrible PI at the end of the game.
Guys, we're leaving off of runway 14. I told him runway 14. It's actually runway 28. Let's go. Let's go. Do you think anybody's ever been left on the tarmac? Bro, sorry. You's got to go, but you can't come with us.
Ronnie Bell's like card to get in the building's gonna not work tomorrow.
John, exactly.
What's
wrong? This worked yesterday. There must be a problem with security. John Muniz, put this loss on Kyle Shanahan, playing Bell over Over JC, Jacob Cowing, our D-line is mid at best for all the money invested. BA is lame, can't catch a cold if he wants.
Sucks our window.
Sucks our window is closed and we wasted players. All right, John. I think that's well said. Needed a little bit more grammar, but what the heck? Coase says, why couldn't anyone get open while Brock Purdy was running for his life? Disgusting. Yeah, I mean, the Niner receivers, you're telling me that that's the best you got off the bench?
There?
Come on, man. Come on. Go look at the box score. Do I have to show the screen on the box score? Here are the Niner receivers. JJ, 11 for 175. Ayuk, 5 for 48 yards. Ronnie Bell, 1 for 12 yards. Everybody else wasn't there. Did they only have 3 receivers?
Saubert got 2 for 41.
Well, no, but I mean among the wide receivers.
Oh, wide receivers, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Where were the? They have other receivers, don't they?
Yeah, they only played 3.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Cowing's not in there. I guess probably don't want Cowing in there because he scores too many touchdowns in college.
He did muff the punt last week, but come on, this is the one guy that you have that separates. Are they banking that Purdy's just going to dime up everybody all season long? By the way, Purdy did throw a dime show tonight. Oh my God, that was how many on the money passes could that guy make? How about the times where he's just running around figure eights? There were times where the Rams were rushing 3, got no pressure, and he's running around. He's running for first. He's finding guys late. I don't know. You could put this one on Brock. D Money says 2 Michigan guys cost us the game. Ronnie Bell and
Jake Moody.
Jake Moody. D sounds like an Ohio State guy. John Muniz is too late to call Belichick and offer him a bag. Yeah. Who wants Belichick as your DC when you can have what they have? They did actually offer Belichick the bag. He just said no. I am your leader says salute Brock Purdy in all capitals. Anytime you speak in all capitals, you're speaking much louder. He says, I hope Kyle, the defense, special teams, Ayuk, and Bell all apologize to you. And of course, salute Third and Jawan. O-line was mid, too. There was times the O-line was good. And then there were other times. Jamie Allen says 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years. Outside corners, always a problem. Missing Gibson and Greenlaw. Holdouts are killing us. Early, but looks a little bit like 2020. I will say this. Guess what? Trent Williams held out, and he's not in shape and not ready to roll. Guess what? Ayuk held out, and he's not a shadow of what he was a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is if you're the Niners, what did you get out of that at the end of the day? What did you get out of the entirety of both of those situations? You paid 2 guys a lot of money to get less than what they used to give you. That's the reality of their situation.
Actually, Larry, would you at the trade deadline, because I think Miami's going to struggle this year, would you trade a future number 1 or a couple of picks for Tyreek Hill if the Dolphins made, because that's what I think they need. They need a Tyreek Hill in this offense.
I don't know. I don't know, Dan. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to trade Tyreek Hill right now.
Would you? Up to the Miami police, they might.
Would you trade Ayuk and a third or fourth for him?
Yes.
I mean, but I don't know if if that would actually happen though.
Because the Niners need. I mean, we see what Juwan can do, and Debo's will be back. I mean, they need a breakaway receiver. They have nobody. I mean, maybe Cowing's the best.
Niners are the slowest team in the entire league on the perimeter, by far. By far. When you throw their corner speed and their receiver speed, when there's no Cowing, that's the slowest perimeter group in the league. So Atwell's tiny. You saw how small Atwell was today. He's tiny.
I'm bigger than Atwell. That guy's small.
Yeah, Atwell is he's really, really light, but he's a blur. He's so fast. You got to have some vertical speed. That's why I was saying, man, if Atwell was cut, because there was a lot of speculation in August that maybe the Rams would cut Atwell, that he would be he would be a guy that had to be sacrificed at the cutdown. If they had put him out there, man, I would have cut anybody basically to get him on there, just because he is what the Niners need. They need some space creating speed, and they need some big playability. They absolutely need big playability.
You paid Brandon Ayuk $120 million, $30 million a year, 4 years. You gave him a ton of guaranteed money. You made him one of the best receivers or highest paid receivers in the NFL. So far through 3 games, he has 11 receptions on 20 targets and 119 yards. You just got more out of Juwan Jennings today than you've gotten from Brandon Ayuk in the last 3 games. Week 1 goes by, he doesn't have a good game. You want to give him shit. You don't want to give him shit for that. That's fine. Week 2 goes by, he doesn't have a great game. That's fine. It's week 3. You just lost your 1 and 2, and the best receiver that you just paid gobs of money to isn't performing. That's when it's like, put up or shut up, dude, because it's getting ridiculous. Like,
JJ's better than Ayuk. I mean, we all need to say it.
Players on time.
You got to sign these players on time, and it's on the Niners. And it's on Parag and John and the organization. They didn't get their work done soon enough, but they also are not targeting speed. I mean, I'll tell you the move I would have made, and it would have been super dramatic, but I would have tried to take whatever my first pick was this year, late first, and Ayuk and Debo, and get up into the top 5 and go after one of those difference-making receivers. I mean, have you seen what Malik Neighbors looks like? Have you seen what Harrison's kid looks like? I mean, because you were getting ready to have to pay these guys anyway. Instead of paying them, move them when everybody knows them, along with another pick, and get your new dynamic receiver. Instead, you got these guys who are now, have huge contracts and they don't separate. And it's a problem. It is a major, major problem. All right. We got this one. Told you, Larry. Michael Carroll says, I told you, Larry, I super chatted 2 days ago. Play Cowing and Marshall and bench Bell. I said, liking Bell is delusional. Yeah. Michael, you're totally right. I mean, ball. You absolutely know ball.
When we made our 53-man roster, we had Bell cut. Didn't even have him making the team.
There's not a lot of there. He didn't have a very good summer. He's a guy with ball skills who dropped the ball this summer. You can be short, you can be slow, but you got to catch. And if you don't catch, it's time to go. And he didn't catch, so it's time to go. And there's guys right now. I mean, I could look it up right now. There's guys on practice squads, and I'm going to do this exercise later tonight. There are wide receivers on practice squads right now that the Niners could pluck who are, guarantee you, who are faster and more dynamic than Ronnie Bell. There are guys currently on the Niners practice squad in Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall is considerably better than Ronnie Bell. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, he's as good a route runner, he's got better hands. You can't jam him at the line. I mean, enough of
it makes no sense.
I get it. You're a general manager. You want to protect your picks. So because people look at your picks, so what? So it was a 6th round. It was a 6th round pick. I know it was a 6th round pick that you gave him some time. He's regressed. He'll be gone. I mean, we can argue about it. I mean, we're not arguing, any of us, but I mean, we can sit there and yell and scream about it. It's a reality. It's going to happen. I'd be shocked if he's here a week from now.
But it's like who is Ronnie Bell? Why it's not like he's a 1st round pick or some established receiver that deserves.
Yeah, what was he, a 7th round pick or something?
Like 6th round pick.
It was a 6th round pick. It was a 6th round pick. All he's ever done when he's played is fumble the ball and punts. Now he's your must start receiver over all these other guys you drafted. It's like I just don't get that. I
think it's well said. I think that's perfectly spot on. Rick James, is it time to really question the Niners? And time to drop Bell? No lie. Well, it's definitely time to drop Bell. As far as question the Niners, I mean, it's the NFL. You got to bring it. I mean, Shanahan said it on Monday or Tuesday when I asked him about the Rams to begin the week. He's like, hey, look, they just got drubbed by the Cardinals. They gave up 41. It's their home opener. They're 0-2. They won 10 games a year ago. They got guys in that room with Super Bowl rings on their hands. McVay's really proud. He's a damn good coach. And they've got some advantages, and they were creative with their use of Kyron. They came out. They usually go 11 personnel, 3 wides. They didn't have 3 wides, so I was wondering, would they flex out Kyron? The answer was no. They went double tight ends. They went 12 personnel much of the day, and they ran the ball more effectively because they were in 12 personnel. And that was a wrinkle. That was a wrinkle in this game. So, and then I saw it last night, and I was like, oh my God. The Niners are the slowest secondary, and these guys have Demarcus Robinson, and he's explosive, and they've got Tutu Atwell, and he's explosive. And if you got George Odom on Jefferson, and when I asked Sorensen about it this week, it was like, yeah, well, he didn't say, hey, that was not the matchup we wanted. He made it sound like that was the matchup they wanted. So, and then I know the personnel well enough to know that the Niners don't.
That's bullshit, though.
Of course, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's not what he wanted, but he doesn't want to. He's not confident enough in his position as the defense coordinator to actually answer the question. So he's got to kind of dodge. That's the reality. So I mean, that's where they're at. I looked at it last night. I'm like, they are getting burned up top. And I told Lund and I told Copeland that on the KMBR pregame show. I go, the verticals scare the shit out of me because they can't defend them. And so sure enough, 48-yard penalty, Isaac Yadam, corral the guy, tackle the guy, because you cannot run. And sure enough, at the end of the game, Tutu Atwell, boom, 50 yards over the top, bingo. They're right there on the goal line because the Niners cannot run on the back end. So that's the deal. I mean, and and now that it's put on film, everybody's going up top. So you're going to have to play the deep ball going forward with some poise, or there's going to be a whole lot more penalties coming their way. And it's a major problem because if teams can run on you better than you think, and they can, and if teams can go up top, then now you're stretched, right? You got to commit extra guys to the line of scrimmage to stop the run, but then you got to help your guys in the back end because your corners don't have enough speed to run with these guys. They're in a pickle. They are in a pickle. All right. We got this one from Fuji Simeon. He says, sorry, Kev, for causing Larry to sing the alma mater. A red and blue will fight for you. We'll raise our banners to the sky.
What is happening right now? What's happening?
A red and blue will all be true. We'll fight for St. Ignatius High. Okay. All right. There you go.
Boy.
And victory will be our goal. All right. Here we go. Justin Cheeseman. Need a refund on Brandon Ayuk. Sorensen needs to go. It's very succinct, but he got his $2 worth there. Justin comes back with this one, or maybe a different Justin. He says, Purdy and Jennings played great. The defense and the special teams combined with Kyle abandoning the run while leading cost us the game. What do you guys think of that? Did Kyle abandon the run once the Niners got the lead in your estimation?
I don't think so.
I don't think he did. I mean, it's and I thought the pass plays were pretty conservative for the most part. They weren't, I mean, he went up top and Bell dropped that one ball. The one thing that I heard him say I was told he said in the presser was they were expecting the fake punt. Then if that was what you were expecting, why wasn't your starting defense on the field? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think it was Dieter. Somebody called the fake punt like Wednesday. Do you remember that, Kev? Somebody on one of our streams, maybe it was Damon. Might have been Damon on the Wednesday. He said he called for the fake punt. And you knew it, man. You knew it. Anytime a team is outgunned the way the Rams were outgunned, a smart coach is going to try to steal a possession. You knew it was coming. You knew it was going to be part of the McVay plan, and they still looked not ready for it. I'm very unimpressed by the Niners special teams. They've had continuous issues on special teams. We were told it was Richard Hightower. Then in comes Coach Schneider. He had a great career in Seattle. He's not having a great career here in San Francisco. So and I don't know what Lynch and Shanahan and what the organization can do. They spent a high pick on a kicker, a high pick on a punter. They devoted lots of money to special teams guys like George Odom, in the past guys like Ray McLeod. I don't know what to do. I don't know what they can do. Annually, they get beat on special teams.
And let's just go back to that point in the game. The Niners were up 14-0. That was a punt that ended up being a 16-play drive, or that fake punt ended up being a 16-play drive where they scored a touchdown going into half. If you get that stop there, you're going into half 14-0. That's a completely different ball game. You're coming out. I mean, it might have been 21. It might have been 21-0 because they would have gotten the ball back. So that was a huge change in the momentum of the game.
49er Talk Show is going with the nuclear option. He says Kyle needs to be fired. Ayuk is trash. Ward is trash. The safeties are trash. Our defense is trash.
It wouldn't be a stream if Kyle was. It wouldn't be a 49ers loss.
Dirty. Yeah. Jennings is wide receiver 1. Purdy is an elite quarterback. I'd say 49er Talk Show is kind of a creature of the moment. Creature of the moment. Rick James, watch the media roast us all day. F you, Grant. What do you say? For real fun. No, I don't think he's really. I think Rick's just playing. Fuji Simeon, horrible day. Niners lose and Ohtani homers again. Oh, great. Yeah. This is the part of the show that I need to remind all of you that the Giants offered Ohtani the identical deal that the Dodgers did. Okay. So don't blame Farhan. Don't blame the Giants. Hey guys, the Giants, they tried. Okay. They tried. If that doesn't make you feel any better, well, then maybe fire Farhan. Ryan Aloy says replaced Moody, liability.
He did miss that 55-yarder that would have saved them.
Murray Hamilton, Harbaugh will win a Super Bowl before Kyle. I was the first to say it. I asked it last week, by the way, to somebody. I fear he could be right. I hope he's wrong. Donkey Kong, what do you guys think? If you had everything you own on the line, and for me and Kev, that's not a lot, but for Danny, look at all those hats. If all of those hats were on the line, Danny, plus all the lumpia that's in your fridge right now, you had to wager it all the lumpia on Kyle or Harbaugh. Where are you putting your lumpia?
I'm putting on Kyle.
Kev's going with Kyle.
Yeah, I'll go with.
Look at he's starting to hedge.
Geez.
Look at that. Here's a man he's had a lot of Giants post games this year. So
they both choked in Super Bowls.
Danny had. I just want you to know, Giants fans, in April in spring training, full head of hair. Yep. This guy was like, he was like Kev. Danny and Kev looked identical in March, and then the Giants started losing. Danny, see what happened?
Oh,
see the stress that Giants baseball brought Dan. That's 3 months of hair loss. This up here. See this up here? That was all Danny had Kev's head of hair. And then the Giants started losing. Farhan, you're causing the follicles. Okay, we got this one from Donkey Kang, I believe, right? Not Kong, Kang. He says, Kyle was terrible today. Abandoned the run again. Bad clock management at the end. How do we give them a chance to win this game? I know. I'm fucking sick to my stomach. I absolutely sick to my stomach. The fact that the Niners lost this game, Rams didn't even need overtime. I thought, oh man, this thing's going to overtime. They're going to lose in overtime. They couldn't even get to overtime. Mike Monahan, I'm literally sick from this game. Brock Purdy and JJ are fire. Yeah, I mean the Niners have their quarterback. Okay, the guy's he's won in the playoffs. He played well in the Super Bowl. I mean, he takes care of the ball for the most part. He wins games. He's 18-6 or whatever he is. He throws accurately on time. They have the quarterback.
I know it's going to be.
They may not have the defensive line. They may not have the corners. They may not have.
It's going to be a mostly negative stream, but we should shout out Juwan Jennings. Like, absolutely incredible game from him. He's just a monster, and everyone. If you watch Tennessee football,
he's the best receiver on the team.
If you watch Tennessee football and if you've watching the Niners for a while, you know Juwan Jennings is his dog. But I mean, he put on a show tonight. But also, I'll credit Purdy. Purdy hit him with some good passes, but Juwan just made the play. But
is it time to market official? Come on, guys. The guy almost won the Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, I mean the block didn't get made.
Juwan or Purdy?
Juwan, JJ. the block didn't get made and the ball didn't go to Ayuk and the Niners didn't win the game. If they had, Juwan's maybe a Super Bowl MVP. Juwan as third and Juwan is a thing. He's come up with big catches in Green Bay, big catches in Dallas, big catches in the postseason. We all know if you're a Niner fan and the biggest pass play of the year, and they went to Juwan over everybody else, even with CMC, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, all these guys on the field, nobody would question the wisdom of going to Juwan at all. So let's stop messing around with these little, this and that. This is the best receiver on the team. This guy's the best receiver on the team. Now,
it's actually pretty crazy to say that. That's pretty crazy.
And he has a touchdown pass.
He's I'd say he's the most reliable receiver on the team for sure.
The season's on the line. You can throw it to Debo, Ayuk, or JJ.
So you would rather pay Juwan Jennings 120 million than Brandon Ayuk? I mean, just like in general, you think he's better? It's pretty crazy.
He's slow, but I mean, think about it this way. Imagine if the Niners had a Tyreek Hill. Imagine if instead of on the other side of JJ, there was a guy who could run like the wind, who took the top off the defense, drew the coverage. Everything just was like a vacuum. Everybody just went with that guy. Imagine if the Niners had Malik Neighbors opposite JJ. That would be unstoppable. Instead, we got these high-priced guys who, I mean, Trent held out, he got hurt. Ayuk held out, doesn't look like the same guy.
And Debo's hurt all the time now.
We got this one. Roberto Davis, can we discuss how overrated the D-line is? Yeah. I mean, I thought there was a couple plays where very disappointing, I thought, from Elliott. Not a lot of noise made from Floyd. Yatir Gross-Matos. I mean, I'm not, Niner D-line. They should have. This Ram line has a bunch of new starters and guys hurt, and the center's a rookie, and the left guard was a replacement level guy. And did they dominate the middle and pressure Stafford in his face? No, hardly at all. Why does Kyle insist on passing on 1st and 10? Thomas De La Cruz. He loves to pass on 1st and 10 because he feels it's the element of surprise. He feels like he can pass without the big heavy rush or some kind of blitz package coming his way. John Hawk, it's the old reversed mentality of pass to set up the run to set up the pass. You really just want to do what you think the defense isn't ready for. John Hawk says, is the D-line still considered elite after getting manhandled by makeshift garbage can level Rams O-line? Not one sack by Bosa, overrated. Did Bosa not have any? Who had the sacks today? The Niners had 2,
Bosa
right?
Forced a sack.
Hargrave and Ocha, whatever.
Aquanu.
Aquanu.
Hargrave. There was a 3rd sack. There was they had 3 on the day.
It might have been Malik Collins.
Yeah, it was Collins.
Yeah, Collins got one. I think the D-line's definitely overrated.
And this was their week to kind of show out. The Rams offensive line, I'm just, like some of the stats from pregame, the Rams offensive line was ranked 28th in run blocking.
This was the get right game, and the Niners didn't get right. I mean, it's that's as simple as that, right? I mean, don't you think, Kev? I mean, this was the get right spot.
This was the get right spot specifically for that defensive line, though. And it's like they got 3 sacks, and you pressured Stafford, but not enough. They adjusted. They made quick passes. The secondary couldn't, like, we were talking about the deep passes. Those deep passes, it wasn't like it was a long developing play. It was like an instant deep pass. Like it was like 1 second, 2 second, Tutu Datwell's 40 yards down the field. I'm throwing it up, either a PI or a completion. So the secondary is a little bit like they're a little bit involved. Like they're part of the reason why this defensive line isn't getting sacks too, I think.
We got a bunch more supers to get through here. I got to pop over onto the radio for 10 minutes to talk.
Let's
do a
fire
segment
through these real quick.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
49er talk. Let's see. Wait. How many games do we need to lose by a field goal? Have I lost track of where we are? Wait a second.
Where are we?
Hold on. I got to find it. We got so many. Let's see.
I have it right here.
Oh, there it is.
Tahoe.
How many SK Tahoe, Nevada says, how many games do we need to lose by a field goal? Oh my God, I know. Seriously. Thomas Messina, Kyle needs to go work at a pig in a pickle because he's terrible as a head coach. 2 locations, by the way, Emeryville and Corte Madera from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. DeBig says O-line has been an issue for years and not addressed by Shanahan in the front office. Burford at right tackle, Nugent at center. It can't be much worse than what they have right now. Herbie Holland says, I've said it for a long time now. 49ers need a championship defense, and they don't have one. They need a championship defensive coordinator and defense. This defense is not that. Joseph Ernberg, what did you think of Yadam? I think Yadam got toasted. He gave I think he grabbed the receiver and had a big penalty because he couldn't hang with him. John Naylor says, in football, speed kills. Yep, no question. Charlie Sinclair, Niners D suffering from the Staley effect. Petty as fuck says O-line is trash. Most wide receivers are trash. Special teams is trash. Defense is trash. Kyle's overrated. Front office taking all off season to make deals is also trash. Ralph Lowe 23. BA is what they said Purdy was. He needs the Avengers. Purdy doesn't. That's interesting. Hester says, we cannot sit here and pretend like a Super Bowl run is what motivates his team anymore. They are paid. And the elephant in the room is these empty-handed playoff runs take a massive toll. That's interesting.
That
might be spot on. Juan Mendoza, can we get rid of the number 10 from the franchise? He's talking Ronnie Bell. We got this one from Larry. Wrong trade up. You go to the top 5, get a generational tackle, not a wide receiver. We already passed him, Panay Sewell and Wirfs. No more. Yeah, you're right. Get alt. You're right. I agree with that.
Oh,
Roberto Davis. Awesome. There was no pass rush. Bosa, Hargrave, Floyd lost. Mark Engelberg. Someone tell Kyle that Terrace Marshall is not a rookie. Thank you.
Seriously, get him the
Maitland. Ball. Special teams lost this game. Thank you. Zachary Kelway. BA always disappeared against good D's. Why pay him? Thank you. SK Tahoe 20 spot. They should have gone for it, not put in Moody hands if the game was on the line.
I mean, that's a tough play because you have to. It's like 3rd and long.
Lots of talk about Bell, rightfully so, but this defense is toothless. No identity, no creativity, and no heart. Nicholas Gearing, tough loss. Shout out, Kevin. You're doing great stuff.
That's my buddy Nick. Shout out, Nick.
Maitland says Sorensen had to pull Campbell out of the game at the end there in an obvious pass situation. Terrible matchup. Rams did a solid job containing Mason. Baby Radiance is going to be a rough week for us Niner fans. No doubt. Hey, Peter. Parker, Sorensen ain't it. Anybody ready to see Staley? Zach says, where the hell's Bosa? We got this one. Moody is a problem. If Bell is replaced, it's going to be Dante Pettis all over again. 49er Charlie Sinclair, 49er D, suffering from the Staley effect.
Yeah, I just read that one.
Thank you, Charlie. Ideas on potential trades Niners could make. We'll definitely get into that. Kev, you gotta do the rest of it. You guys, I'll be back. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Continue.
I'll read the rest of these and then we'll get out of here. Where are we at here?
Hey, don't jump. I'll be back in 10 minutes. If you get through them, and I'll be back.
He's like, do not end the show or I'm going to lose it. I don't know where we are. Where are we right now?
Fuji, let's see. I can't put him up there. Oscar Zamora is next. Breaking news, Jennings holding out for $32 million a year. Should be the next one.
Breaking news, Jennings holding out for $32 million a year. I mean, that's the steal. I mean, if Brandon Ayuk is the oh, you fucked that one up contract, Juwan Jennings is the you got that one right. Right.
It balances them out.
Hester says passed my super. Do we pass the super? Let me see. All the way up here.
I can go look if you want to go to the next Hectel. I'll go look for Hester.
All right, I'll go to the next one. Let's see. Where was I? There's so many of these. I can't.
Yeah, the next one was Hester Hackdell.
Oh, okay. BA looks like he lied on the application. Juan knows it, or Juwan. I'm guessing he meant Juwan knows it. Yeah. Seriously. Would you rather have Shanny or McVay? I mean, that's a tough one because it's like, would you rather have? Oh, I'm lagging here.
Esther $9.99 back, a yellow one.
So would you rather have Shanny or McVay? Who would you rather have, Danny?
Well, that's a tough one. Shanny's owned him for the most part in the regular season, but McVay's got a championship.
He's got a ring.
He's got a ring, and he seems to like those 10-point deficits at SoFi with Kyle on the other side. That's twice in the fourth quarter that he's come back. Hester was at 521.
What do you say? You want to just read it?
All right. I can't put it up there, but we cannot sit here and pretend. 9.99, by the way, Hester. Thank you. We cannot sit here and pretend like a Super Bowl run is what motivates this team anymore. They are paid, and the elephant is in the room is these empty-handed playoff runs take a massive toll. I think we read that one in this. We did read that one once before. Let me see if he's.
I think we just read it really quick. On the McVay Shanahan thing, it's like, Shanahan has like the record. He's beat McVay more times, but it's McVay has the Super Bowl, but McVay also has the NFC Championship game that you choked, and he has that one in his pocket too. So I don't know if it's like head to head. Who do I want running the offense? Shanahan's like cream of the crop in that sense, but in terms of production, McVay's produced. Zachary Kelway, clowns blaming Kyle Shanahan, always crying my window, and then the effing window is Kyle taking these turds who can't separate and making people think we have a good roster. Wow.
Well, keep in mind one thing, guys. They're 1-2. They were 3-5 a couple years ago and ran the table. You got Williams and Ayuk that are out of shape. They probably won't get into game shape until about week 5, where they're actually, week 5 or 6, where they're actually where they should be. And Kittle's out, Debo's out, CMC's out. You may not get the 1 seed. You still could, but the Niners, the sky's not falling. It's not like the season's over. This is still one of the top teams in the NFL. And
I agree with Zachary. Like, I don't, in the sense where it's like, I don't think blaming Kyle Shanahan's always the option or always the answer. But I think it's kind of crazy to be like, Debo is not a good receiver without Kyle Shanahan. Like, Debo's still going to be a good receiver. He's a baller. He's just going to be good. And like George Kittle's still going to be George Kittle without Kyle Shanahan's not out there blocking for George Kittle. Like, George Kittle's doing that by himself. So, if you want to make the case for other guys that have been that have produced, like Kendrick Bourne, like maybe Kendrick Bourne is nothing without Kyle Shanahan. Someone who's just like a possession receiver, maybe a possession receiver who's just catching the ball in a window is a Kyle guy. But some of these guys, you can't really say that about them. Anthony Catania, our good friend Anthony Catania, said late to the chat, I think the defense has major issues. Clearly, this team's weakness is defense. Also, I don't think Purdy trusts Ayuk yet, probably, and he did not hit the deep pass. What do you think? Do you think Ayuk or Purdy doesn't trust Ayuk?
I don't think the timing's right yet. I don't think Ayuk's time. You could see it even on the out route that Purdy threw away to the sideline. Ayuk's not in game shape. He's just not.
Yeah, if I was Purdy, you obviously trust all your receivers. You have to, otherwise you can't really pass them the ball ever. But you don't feel great because you've passed the ball in Ayuk's direction, 20 times this season in 3 games, and he's only come down with it 12 times or 11 times,
11,
right?
Yeah, something
so
like
it's
that.
Like,
yeah.
It's like if you're a quarterback who's used to throwing at what Purdy throws at, which is upwards of 70% through this year, when you're throwing to a guy and you're completing for like a 52% completion rate, you got to think in the back of your head, you're like, this is not working like it used to work. So it'll get there. I think it'll get there, right? You better hope it gets there. You got to think it's because of the rust from the off season.
Yeah,
it's just annoying that's.
What do they have a bye this year after week 8? I think it is.
So. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, they got Kansas City and Dallas. They should be able to beat Dallas, but they're probably going to be after 8 games, probably 5-3, 4-4.
Yeah, no, it's gonna come down to one of those, late late season runs that they're going to have to go on to secure a significant seed. L. Crew or Krutz says, "Is the season already over?" Makes sense. Week 3, season's over. Not yet. Not yet. I mean, is the Giants season over? Yes, it is over. But the Niners, no. Kalba Kaminga or Kaminga.
Yeah, that's it. Calvin Kaminga.
JJ has always stepped up when needed. I worry that Ayuk is a bus rider rather than a driver, despite getting paid as a number 1. How will he handle the criticism? Well, I mean, you saw him at the end. You see that at the end of the game where he was like about to throw hands with someone, like at the very end of the game. He obviously wasn't handling that well. But I mean, yeah, if I was Ayuk, I'd be frustrated too. You know, you got like the world on your back now. Everyone's expecting you to be number 1, and that was the debate. I mean, if there was a debate at all, is Ayuk the guy? You know, is he worth being a number 1? Do you think
Kev, my personal feeling on it was I thought they mishandled the whole thing. You know, you needed him in camp at least 2 weeks sooner. I would have said, look, either sign this thing or we're pulling the deal. You got 24 hours. They basically did that, but they did it 2 weeks later. And they waited and waited and waited. I would not have let a guy who's already signed. You know, it wasn't like Trent Williams' situation where Trent could have held out. Ayuk holds out, he screws himself. You know, you could have actually not even signed Ayuk and just said, you know what? Sign the deal. We've maxed out our best offer. Sign it, or we're either going to trade you or we're not negotiating anymore, and you can play under the 5th-year option, and we'll franchise tag you next year as well. So if you want to, you know, Ayuk even said at the end, I probably messed things up the last few weeks by, you know, digging in. He just I don't know if he was getting bad advice from his agent or whatever, but it's put the Niners in a bad situation the first 3 weeks. They should be 3-0. They should be 3-0. And now you're 1-2, and you're going to be in a dogfight, not only for the trying to get the number 1 seed, but you might be in a dogfight at the end of the season just to make it in.
I mean, their odds to win the number 1 seed, I'd imagine, are quite low now, just because having 2 losses in week 3, the odds of a 1-2 team becoming the 1 seed, I feel like is pretty low.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like the whole Brandon Ayuk thing was all about, like, you know, we're offering what he's worth. We're offering what he's worth. They're not gonna cave to him. And they try to make that clear by having Schefter tweet out once the deal was done, oh, they've had the same offer that they've always had on the table, and that the holdout didn't affect the deal at all. You know, like some weird line that makes no sense. Like, oh, if you read that, it's like, oh, it didn't affect the deal. Interesting. But it's like, if you really think about it, the deal that they offered him was like a week into his hold-in. So it's like, well, like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And then they end up giving him all this money. And then it's like, if I don't know about this, like, this is kind of a crazy take, but like, they should have taken that deal off the table and started lowering it as the season got closer.
Well, that's what I said. I was just said, hey, look, you know what? I know Larry says differently. The vets in the room get upset when they hear guys are treated like that. But you know what? You played fair. Hey, we're offering you $30 million. Each day you hold out, it's going to be $1 million less. So clock starts tomorrow or now. And in 24 hours, if you haven't signed, it's down to 29 a year. And just, you know, play hardball. But everybody's afraid to do that because they're afraid of upsetting the veteran players in the room. Right. And I get that. I get it.
There's a big fear of disrespecting the player. It's his life. It's his livelihood, XYZ. And I get it. And this has never happened before. So it's not like I'm like saying like they should have done this, but it's like you offered him $28 million to say, hey, look, if you don't sign this, we're dropping our offer because you're becoming less valuable as every day goes by. Because if you think about it, if you're telling me, oh, Brandon Ayuk's not going to be back to Brandon Ayuk until week 5, that's 4 games of someone who isn't Brandon Ayuk. You're paying him
Right.
$28 million a year. That means you're paying him multiple $1 million per game. So it's like you're just shelving over money that's not worth it. Like you're getting, the longer he holds out, the longer you're getting screwed. So leaving that as like an open offer on the table.
I mean, look at Trent Williams. 2 games in the first 3 where he's had to come out of the game and get an IV basically because he's gassed.
Right.
I mean, do these guys just like just do
Right.
nothing? Cardio during the season.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's like I don't want to hear. I never want to hear again from a presser. It's like he's not at practice, but we trust that he's working out on his own. It's like that's never worked. It didn't work for Nick Bosa. It obviously didn't work for Brandon Ayuk, and it's really not working for Trent Williams because Trent Williams has to leave games to get IVs. I mean, like what was he doing in Houston? What was Trent Williams doing? Like it's not like one of these sports where you can just wake up and you got to be conditioned. Like everyone's at tip top condition, and if you're not there, you're getting left behind.
Yeah, so. I mean it's not a sport where you can take a lot of breaks. I mean, it's not like baseball where you might be able to get away with it in baseball because you're standing out there for long periods of time between pitches. But football, basketball, you're moving constantly. I mean, look at Brock on that one scramble. Think of Ayuk trying to do that scramble. I don't think he could have. I really don't. I don't think Ayuk could have run as long as Brock did because he looks like he's gassed constantly. Ayuk is not open very much. How many balls did he catch today? 3? What was Ayuk's?
He had 40 yards.
Well, he caught 5. He caught 5, but they were
48 yards.
But they were like every one of Juwan's catches. They were all meaningful. Ayuk's had maybe 1 or 2 catches that was, I think, his long was 12 yards. And
he had like 2 first down or 2 near first down catches. The other 2 were just whatever. He's 10 targets, 5 catches. It's not good either. So, yeah. This one from Tobin Ernst.
50%. Yeah.
Tobin Ernst. Imagine trying for Belichick and settling for Sorensen. That is true. You called Belichick and you got Sorensen. Is it Sorensen or is this defense just getting older? The Niners have a really high standard that they set with a really young up and coming defense 3 years ago, for the last 3 years, but these last 2 years, it's like,
You remember last year, even last year, they were talking about the defense, the first 4 or 5 games, like this team was going to go undefeated. Who's going to beat them? They're dominant on offense. They're dominant on defense. And yet we don't even talk about the defense that much now as far as dominant. It's constantly getting guys, beat, like Larry says, over the top, the zone. They're, it looks like to me the only guy out there that is playing at an all-pro level is Fred Warner.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's true, Danny, you're right, because it's like people have to forget name value. Like I know people love to remember names and they love to remember people, but last year we were all taught, and I'm not going to say I wasn't either, but we were all happy about how the Niners had Randy Gregory and Chase Young. And it's like, is this the best defense the 49ers have ever had? I mean, look at you're just naming off the names, like the defensive, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, it's like Chase Young, Randy Gregory, got Fred Warner. And it's like, they had all these names, but they didn't produce, they didn't show anything for it. They didn't stop the run. They got gashed in the playoffs. Detroit gashed them. They luckily won that game. And like, here we are, we still have the same names.
You know who they're missing though, Kev? You know who they're really, really missing in this defense?
Probably Greenlaw.
Yeah. He was such an animal. He's sideline to sideline, just a dog out there. And not having Greenlaw is having a huge effect on this defense.
I'm back from the radio hit. And
Danny carried.
Danny carried it?
Yeah, he carried it.
How come there's more people now coming back in the room than they were? I saw people running out of the room. Like I thought maybe I thought maybe you guys started a fire.
Danny went on a Farhan rant and just people were in trance. They were in trance.
Wait a second. Broken Metronomes is ready for Larry's apology tour. What do I have to apologize for? Oh man. Smash the like and subscribe. Did you guys get through all the supers? God, there's 81 supers here.
No,
you guys
did not. We're on
which one?
Digital Drew.
What time?
You want me to pull it up? I'll just pull it up.
What time? Just tell me what time it is so I can get down there.
5:40.
Oh, 5:40. So that was 4:40. So I got to catch here. I got to catch up. Digital Drew says 2,100 plus in the stream. Larry, think about how far you've come. Glad I have a place to come and talk football, win or lose. Thanks, Larry and company. Thank you, Digital Drew. Digital Drew, one of our favorites out in Chicago. Yeah, well, you know what? People, tend to want to talk when the Niners lose. That's for sure. Let's see. You got through all these other ones, huh? So that's at 5:40. Wow, we got a bunch of them here. And thanks to everybody, by the way, who have donated and are regulars on this show. Thomas De La Cruz, with your answer, it tells me that Kyle overthinks and underperforms on 1st and 10. Keep it simple, stupid. Oh, kiss. Kyle cost me my parlay. JM needs over 20 rushes. Yeah, I kind of agree. You run the ball. I mean, this team had given up. You know what's the most disappointing thing? Kev, do the math for me. If you take away 18 yards from Mason, what would he have gotten per carry? He got because he had the 118-yard run, right?
You mean if that carry didn't exist, you're saying?
Yeah, if that carry didn't exist, what was Mason's?
He would have been 18 for 59.
Yeah, so that's not very good. We're talking about 2 yards a carry, right? Or
would have been 3 yards a carry.
A little bit over
3.27. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Oh yeah, Mason didn't have a good game on the ground, and that's why I was saying the offensive line, like, they just didn't.
Don't tell me it was great.
Yeah.
Week
1, it was like Dominic Pooney and Jake Brendel and all these guys, and it's like I don't want to hear shit about Colton McKivitz being like the guy, or like he's like, oh, like people are overreacting about Colton McKivitz, or they make this offensive line seem so much worse than it is. It's like, give me a break, bro.
Yeah,
give me a break. It's
Nick
not.
Meyer says Niners taking a third on my cuz. I need interpretation, Kev.
Scatabo. Skate.
Niners taking a third on my cuz Skatabo next draft.
Skidabo.
Not sure what that means.
He must be a player in college.
On that note, we welcome in Rye Smith, who was our boots on the ground at SoFi today. Rye, you were there. You're wearing your Niner jersey. Your quick thoughts on the debacle that was this Niner loss.
Like for the first 3.5 quarters, I actually was like, man, this kind of sucks because like I'm low-key kind of bored at this game right now. Like there's not really any stakes. Like there's no chance the Niners lose this game. I'm just looking around. The Cowboys are getting their ass beat. Just seems like there's nobody that's really that great in the NFC. And I was just thinking like, man, this season might be kind of boring. And then, yeah, everything flipped so quickly. All I can really say is like Purdy looked unreal in person. Like that was the best game of Purdy I've seen in person. So at least counting. Yeah.
As far as his accuracy or just his movement ability or both?
I'm very frustrated with his comfortability in the pocket. And just moving around and just like he just looked like the guy, like an absolute guy. Like he had everything. He was in control of everything. One thing that got really frustrating though was like I was doing a lot of watching Ayuk. He didn't play every snap because clearly he still is like catching up on the playbook. But God, it just doesn't seem like he gets really. I mean,
I don't want to interrupt you, but make the damn turn already, or get rid of the blinker. I mean, my goodness, what are you, a senior citizen? You blink? You give the person like a 17 block warning behind you? I mean, turn already, turn.
Can you take the blinker off?
Son of a bitch, turn! Will you freaking turn? Turn!
Larry's
Oh, sorry.
crashing out right now. Larry's
Sorry about that. I get a little pent up when the Niners don't win, and then little things set me off like that.
Yeah.
You were saying.
Just, yeah, I was saying like Ayuk just doesn't look like he has any juice, and to be honest,
I agree.
like,
I agree.
It was really, yeah.
He looks slow. He looks
slow.
really slow.
He looks like really slow, and like he just doesn't have a juice. He doesn't have that kind of like, remember his like rookie year when he like hurdled that dude, and like he kind of had like a lot more wiggle to his game.
Yeah.
And it just kind of seems like, I mean, he's a good receiver. He's not a $30 million receiver. And it's like Jennings isn't very fast either. But the thing that was really cool to watch was like Jennings and Purdy were like on the same page, kind of like how you'd see with a lot of these great quarterbacks and their great receivers, like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, or hell, you're even seeing it a little bit with Darnold and Jefferson, where it's like, even like when plays are kind of dead and like he's buying time in the pocket, like they're communicating, he's finding open spots. It just seems like Ayuk doesn't have that element at all. Like he kind of just does his route. He just doesn't really have that vibe with Purdy. So,
What do you think of the Niner defense out there? I mean, it just seemed like the Niners defense the last two games has looked so slow on the verticals. And I started looking at the matchup and I'm like, oh no, there's no Puka and there's no Cup. You know what? The Rams have nothing. And then I start looking at Tutu and DeMarcus Robinson. I'm like, oh shit, both these guys can really, really run. And they're going to run right by the Niners' kind of main weakness in the secondary, which is they don't really have a lot of speed. And sure enough, as soon as Stafford needed a gigantic play, man, he threw it up top and down the field with such conviction. It was like they knew, you know what, we can go up top a couple of times on these guys, and let's save it for the moments that we really need it. And that's what they did. They got the 48-yard penalty on Yadam early, and they got the 50-yard connection late. And when you can go up top, you don't need to do it. You don't got to do it more than once or twice a game to be effective. And that's what happened. I thought that was a huge part of the game.
Yeah, it just felt like, first of all, it felt like the Niners were in control of the game. I don't know if you guys got that feeling like watching it. It felt like the Niners were in control literally until all of a sudden they just lost.
Yeah.
Like they possessed control of the game. Stafford, I feel like I didn't think Stafford played that great, but he did. It was one of those things where it was like they're playing with house money, like at the end. He takes that shot, and then I really was like pretty confident in Wishnowsky, like, oh, you know what, this is why you have Wishnowsky. He's awesome, man. He's gonna pin him back there, and what a just disgusting angle they took. Just terrible special teams.
They all crashed in.
Like, it's hard to even like blame like it'd be like one thing if like they went down the field on them there at the end with like 50 seconds left, but it's just the fact that you basically gave the game away with that punt coverage.
Yeah, when they ran that punt back, I go, it's over. 50-yard line. I go, they just need 20 yards. They're going to get it, and then they get the pass interference on Campbell, and it was just like, what was he even doing in there at that point? You knew they were passing. Why is he in there?
Well, Winters was hurt. Winters went out with the ankle, right?
What about was Flanagan Foles out there playing, or was he?
I don't know, but I thought he had a couple bad plays too. But yeah, Campbell. He's not. It's just he's not a great coverage player. He's not a great coverage player.
Right. What was the last play you saw? Where were you? Did you have a good view of it?
Oh, fantastic.
Tell us about that last play, because it looked like if Ayuk maybe caught that ball, he could have. Did he have a lane down the sideline?
Yeah. That was a crazy play to watch develop. I genuinely got to a point where I thought it was going to happen, because all that really needed to happen was like for somebody in Ayuk maybe needed to pitch it one more time. But like if Brendel pitched it to Jennings instead of Ayuk, like there literally was like one guy to beat. I really think that could have happened. It was like, it seemed pretty, like they seemed pretty confident doing it, to be honest. I'm not used to seeing the Niners do that.
A couple more supers here. Let's see. We got that one. We've got Fuji Simeon saying at least the Cowboys lost. Family YouTube says, how about them Eagles? Niners EAD. What's that?
I think he meant to say dead, but
Oh, dead. Fuji Simeon says, any trades you want the Niners to pursue? Gosh, I mean, I think they need more pass rush. I'd trade a 3rd-round pick for Hassan Reddick if I could. We welcome in Damon to the proceedings.
Hey,
Damon, good to see you.
Real quick, just that back on that Nick Meyer text or that super chat, Scatabo or Scatabo. My friend from Arizona texted me, Nick. He said Scatabo or whatever his name is had 33 carries for 262 yards last week or 2 weeks ago for Arizona. He's an Arizona running back. That's what that comment was.
Oh, about. Somebody put his name up there earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Arizona's got this all-world running back, and they have that Tetaroa McMillan monster receiver. God, Arizona's just freaking.
Jalen McMillan? Is that his name?
No, I think his name's Tetaroa McMillan for talking about University of Arizona.
Yeah,
U of A. Yeah, I was talking to Cowing about him. He says they're teammates. This guy's monster. He's like 6'6", 220, and just unstoppable.
Oh, no, he's Arizona State. He's Arizona State. Sorry,
Scatterboro.
Yeah.
Okay. We welcome in Damon. Damon, what'd you think? I mean, obviously, I think it was you that might have called, the fake punt Wednesday, or So I think a couple other people might have called it later in the week. I'm pretty sure you called it Wednesday in the wake up. What'd you think of the loss?
Yeah, you're asking who the 49ers could add. Can you pick up a special teams coach who knows what the fuck it is he's doing? Can you pick up one of those on the trade deadline? Because I'm not even letting Brian Snyder back into the room. If I'm the 49ers, I'm firing him today. I'm firing him in the locker room at Levi's Stadium. This is a.
Are you saying his card key doesn't work anymore?
Boop, boop, boop.
Excuse me. I'm having a hard time entering the building. Yeah, we're gonna have somebody come down, Mr. Schneider.
Larry, Kevin, Ryan, Dan, I'd be more comfortable with all of you coaching the 49ers special teams than this guy for one more. I've seen enough. Everybody wants to just blame Kyle and Brock for everything as if they're the only two guys who go into the game plan. Kyle and Brock, I actually thought did their jobs today. The defense could not get off the field whenever it was important. They literally lost a game where all they had to do was make sure Tutu Atwell didn't go off, and they couldn't stop that. What are you doing, Nick Sorensen? What are you doing, Brandon Staley? I think all of us were convinced that the secondary was going to be a strength of this team. It is yet to reveal itself as that. So if it's not going to be the secondary, it's got to be the defensive line. We haven't used the name Leonard Floyd since week 1, since he was chasing around Aaron Rodgers. It was good to see Hargrave and Collins have a little something today. Nick Bosa actually drew a flag today, which is a rare thing. But what a defensive letdown from a game that couldn't have started any better. I mean, the 49ers owned that first quarter. They were as in control of a game as you can kind of be, with it only being a 2-possession game right up before the fake punt. And
they were up 10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the fake punt unraveled everything. And yeah, I can't help but notice that Kyle Shanahan has a team that has blown another 10-point fourth quarter lead. That's not good.
No, and they didn't run it. I know the offensive line didn't allow a lot of sacks. So from that standpoint, they did an okay job. But their run blocking, the Rams have been they've been getting gashed in the run, and the Niners ran for about 3 yards a carry outside of one run. So, I mean, it's really very, to me, I was expecting a much more run-dominant performance, both in the number of runs and the effectiveness of the runs, and we just didn't see it. Let me get through a couple more of these before we get back to the questions and the comments. Fuji Simeon says, at least the Cowboys lost. Family YouTube, how about them Eagles? Okay, I think we got that one. Heck Dell says, never draft from Michigan. Seems like a pretty easy formula. Except this guy named Brady. Yeah. Ryan Merdadian, as I said, 49ers would have same record as the Broncos. Yeah, Broncos one day behind Bo Nix. To Big 25, Whitner asked about defensive situation right now. He said it's code red. They need to have a team meeting. It absolutely is code red. I mean, it's kind of like when you're playing. It's no different than playing Madden. You're playing Madden, and your buddy goes up top, and you weren't anywhere near it. And then you see him look at you, and he's giving you that look like you can't defend it. And I'm going up top again. And then you're sitting there going, he's going up top again. And maybe nothing's said about it, but you know it's coming because you couldn't defend it. Well, it's no different. When they gave up that bomb to Jefferson, it was like an invite in the offensive coordinator mailboxes around the league. You are cordially invited to go up top on the 49er defensive backs because they're slow as molasses. And guess what? That's what happened today. And look at the way it wasn't just that they went up top for the 48-yarder on the Yadam PI or they went up 50 on the Tutu Atwell. It was the way Stafford did it. He was like, as soon as they were time to go up top, he knew exactly where he was going, exactly, you know what I mean? They practiced that this week. You know they did. They saw that on film. They knew they could go to it. They practiced it.
He delivered those passes with spite. He was spitting on what he knew the 49ers were about to trip over. That's the way it felt. It really did. It did. It was not good, man. And here's the deal. Dude, Stafford's got an arm on him still, man. He's good.
How about that one throw where he layers it over, but it was still super low and on a line? I mean, he's got crazy arm talent. He made 5 or 6 throws tonight that were like, you know what? There's 5 guys on the planet that can make that throw. I mean, he's an incredible guy. Incredible.
He's probably going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, that's who he
Big
is.
talent,
now, right? He's probably going to the Hall of Fame.
I don't know if Hall of Fame. He's got 1 Super Bowl. There's guys out there like Plunkett and others that have, Eli Manning that have 2. They're not in. So we'll see. But yeah, he's a great player. Niner fan for life says losing Debo, Kittle, and McCaffrey is biting us in the ass. We need to cut Ronnie Bell and fire Nick Sorensen. You got to go with Terrace Marshall over Ronnie Bell going forward. You just got to. Sorry.
Well, and Ronnie Bell, I think we've seen enough, right? He's not a pro. He doesn't need to be dressed anymore. He doesn't need to be on the team anymore. There's nothing there. There's no reason to see what Ronnie Bell might have when you don't know what Jacob Cowing does have.
Well, here's the thing, David. Wide receiver core more than other positions, in my opinion. That's where the positions, the guys have to complement one another. So if you have a go pattern guy, you got like if you had Tutu Atwell, hey, Ronnie Bell might not be bad, right? Because you got the guy to run off the top, and now here's the guy underneath. But if you don't have Tutu Atwell and all you have are guys that are vertically challenged as far as getting down the field, then guess what? Your backup guy's probably got to be able to really run, and he's got to complement what you have. He doesn't. He's a redundant part. He is a redundant part on this team. Fuji Simeon says Dan's right. Fitness isn't vital in baseball. Look at how fat Jock Peterson was with the Giants. There you go. And just reading that comment alone made 150 people decide to leave the channel. I apologize that. I apologize to anybody. The Giants are, well, it's a long story. Tangy says, we let DJ Jones go and spent all the time trying to replace him. Still haven't. The run game's a turnstile. Seriously, I agree with this one wholeheartedly. They let DJ Jones go because Denver wanted to pay him $30 million. They should have just paid him the $30 million. This guy was absolutely an interior run stuffer. You could not run in the A gaps if he was there. They haven't been able to stop the inside run since he left. I mean, literally since he left, and they've had like 5 or 6 different guys. So I think I'm totally with that one. Jeff Taylor says Ayuk's a joke. That's kind of harsh, but I hear the frustration. Too much sauce. Trent Williams and BA not in football shape yet. Yeah, I think that's you could take the question mark off there. Niner Cali boy, get Ronnie Bell the fuck off this team. Mark Blum just says deuces. Perfect Blackness Senior says, I am so effing and tired of Shanny's comfortable personnel decisions. Bell should have never been on this roster. Local press, where are you?
I mean, look, here's the thing with Bell. Like, that's another thing you can actually blame on Brandon Ayuk because at the game, I mean, it seemed like, 20, 30% of the time, Ayuk wasn't going out there. It was Chris Conley and Ronnie Bell, clearly because those guys were in training camp. And like Shanahan trusts them to run all these plays. Clearly, BA isn't completely caught up on the playbook. So it's just like that. He clearly doesn't trust Cowing to just throw him in there and do that. So it's just we're in a tough place now, or the Niners are in a tough place now, where it's like they kind of have to rely on Ronnie Bell because he's a guy who actually knows what he's doing. He's not going to screw up the plays.
He knows what he's doing until the balls actually hits him in the hands.
Well, that's exactly right.
It's just, it's just like anything else. It's like, it's like a baseball player that has no power, no speed. What would you say you do here? And it's like a football player that doesn't run fast, but doesn't show good ball skills and is listed as a receiver, generally doesn't have a job. 49er Lance
baseball players with no speed and no power. I thought you weren't going to talk about the Giants, Larry.
Seriously, just saying no speed, no power made 150 people leave. 49er Lance became a YouTube member. We always do a little clap for our newest YouTube members. Thank you, 49er Lance. Welcome to the show. That's Kev up top. That's Damon. You recognize him. This is Dan Cochemilio, just a person that we saw at a bus stop in Mesa, Arizona, and we said, come on to the show. And his parents said it was okay.
Thanks for picking me up.
And then, of course, Rye is being driven back to his weekend furlough at Lompoc right now. So he got out for the weekend, and he's with us. Now, Rye's down in Southern Cal with his girl. And welcome to the Krug Show. And this is our post-game show, which we enjoy after Niner football. Okay, we've got that one. Did I skip? I feel like I skipped somebody here. What happened? We had Tangy, we had Jeff. Oh, there, Mark Blum, Perfect Blackness. There we go. Here we go. We got this one. TV uses Ayuk and Bell practice dropping the ball. Well, they don't, but it seems like it today. Mufasa, Ronnie Bell has reached Kyle Williams levels. Yeah, he had the look on the sideline of that look that you sometimes get right before nobody's ever heard of you again, And I hate to say that because he's probably a pretty nice guy, but it's like, that's it. It's time for Terrace Marshall. Jorge Luis Sotelo. Greetings from the 305. Rye, 305? Is that Orange County?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm 310. 310.
Okay, let's not overreact too much, but agree with Damon on Schneider and Bell. Go Niners. I love Purdy as our quarterback. Okay.
By the way, 305 is Miami, right? That's like Florida Keys.
There you go. Checking in from the Keys. Mike Nolan says he loves the smell in the building. He says the 49ers miss Trent Baalke as our GM. I don't know about that. I like a Ronnie Bell. I do. I like a Ronnie Bell, but he just can't catch. I told Damon, you got to be able to run or you got to be able to catch. And
he's not a football guy.
He's not my kind of guy.
Look, I promised Jillian I would only hop over for a little bit here. I got 2 kids. She's been on kids all day. I got to go upstairs and make dinner.
You got 2 more kids?
We had 2 kids today during the game.
Okay, you adopted 2.
Yeah, two more kids in the 49ers got stops when they needed them. But what a shame for Juwan Jennings. This was going to go down in history as the Juwan Jennings game. This was going to go down as Juwan Jennings might be more important than Debo, might be more important than anybody not named Christian McCaffrey, might be more important than Kid. Like Juwan Jennings had the kind of afternoon that really no other 49ers wide receiver has had for a long time, it feels. He was unbelievable. So
Terrell Owens like.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you can get that out of him, more often than just once a year when you turn to him. He should be turned to more. And I will say this. Ricky Pearsall's coming. Kittle's coming back. Christian McCaffrey's coming. There's 15 more weeks of football. But what a disappointing, absolutely had it on the stick loss to a division rival that you normally beat, and they're more beat up than you. And that is a we have shit to talk about internally level loss for the Niners. And I would be firing Brian Schneider this week if I'm the 49ers. You need a fall guy, Chris Carter said. If this loss needs a fall guy. And I don't think just Ronnie Bell's enough. I would fire the special teams coordinator.
Damon?
Does not get it right any single game, any single week, several years in a row now, not never. What the fuck? Come on.
Would you fire him on the patio?
Oh, not that patio. We got nothing but good vibes on that patio, Larry. So look, I'll see everyone tomorrow morning for wake up. I'm gonna go make sure my wife isn't calling a divorce lawyer, but I had to come in and see you guys for a second. Rye, please don't crash the car if you're driving. And I love you all very much. I'll see you soon. Fuck.
There you go. There you go. And always be wary of those divorce
Don't
lawyers.
you wish you
I
could
always,
just have
I
ended
always
one of
feel
your
like-
shows that
What's
way
that?
on
What-
the radio? I said, don't you wish, Damon, you could have just said that on the radio once?
Yes. Sports
In the
don't
game.
go character, they reveal it. Fuck.
And on that note, and like that, he swore, and he was gone. It's a YouTube rule. If you swear, you get thrown off the show. No, but join Damon and I tomorrow at 9 a.m. on both of our channels for Wake Up, sponsored by Sam's Chowderhouse.
You know what really
okay.
irritated me though, Larry, on this thing?
Go ahead.
Damon was just sharing about
Damon irritated you?
about the Juwan Jennings thing
Oh.
is the Purdy. I mean, I saw Rice comments on Twitter to Colin Coward's comment about, Purdy being a trust fund baby, trust fund child, getting this. He's got all the weapons, and Rye pointed out, the Kurt Warner had, Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, and Orlando Pace is the left tackle, and all those weapons, and yet, Colin praises him, but Purdy's just this trust fund child, and I'm thinking he does this today. Maybe his best game, one of his best, I think probably one of his top 3-4 games overall. The way he played.
Well, I mean, are we going to blame Purdy, or are we going to blame Ronnie Bell? He put the ball right on Ronnie Bell's hands.
I'm just saying the fact that if the Niners won, but now that they lost, there's going to be somebody tomorrow morning is going to say, see, Purdy couldn't get it done without his weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Brian Sinat, 49ers really need to get the contract sorted out pre-camp in the future. Either pay them or trade any holdouts. Debo, Bosa, B.A., Trent have all shown what missing camp means. Piss poor performance. Brian is so spot on this one. I mean, Trent went down with a pole. That was because he wasn't in camp. Ayuk doesn't look the same. It's because he wasn't in camp. Bosa didn't have a good year. It's because he missed camp. Debo didn't have a good year. It's because he missed time in camp. Yeah, I agree. You're gonna have to pay these guys. At the end of the day, did the Niners get a great deal on Trent? Did they get an incredible deal on Ayuk? No. So it didn't work. So you caused all kinds of disharmony, and inside your Super Bowl window, you allowed your season to start with 2 of your best players not ready to roll. And now you're 1-2 out of the chute. And the schedule gets rough in the second half of the year. You needed to bank wins in September. Sean O'Leary says, can we send Kyle to a remedial clock management school? How many more times will we blow a late lead? Mark Blum, is the wide 9 still effective? They can't stop the run. I just think that the wide 9 has never been great against the run. They just had Greenlaw and Warner. And then you take away Greenlaw and Warner, and suddenly you can't stop the run. Or you take away Greenlaw, you can't stop the run. And that's kind of where they're at.
Larry,
So,
I think that's like a key point to hit upon. Like, especially, okay, yes, the Niners defense is still very talented, and they're going to be getting Greenlaw back. They're going to still be a top half of the league defense this year. But when you start thinking about the future, and it's like Purdy is going to have to get paid, and he deserves to get paid. But what does that mean? Like, you look at like the Chiefs, they had to pay Patrick Mahomes, so it hurt, but they had to let Tyreek Hill go. And like they've kind of remade their team, and like luckily they've got Spagnuolo, and they've drafted defense, and they drafted linemen. And I just think the Niners, I think that defensive scheme, I mean, the worst version of it is Gus Bradley in Indianapolis. It's just the same freaking thing every time. And like, yes, it works if you have talented enough players, but the Niners are not going to continue to have talented enough players to play the wide 9. It's just it's unsustainable, and people are getting older. They need to switch up their defensive philosophy. Like, I think they need to bring in like someone, like they can't just keep bringing in a new guy to keep running the same old thing.
I mean, I just think overall, they used to be incredibly deep at linebacker, where Azeez Al-Shaair was like on the bench. And now it's like, Al-Shaair is having a great career elsewhere, and they're They don't have near the depth at linebacker. They had to go for Devondre Campbell. They got Flanagan Fowles. They lost Jalen Graham at the end of camp. So, I mean, they made some mistakes, I think. We welcome in JD as we're kind of coming down the home stretch, JD. Give us your quick rundown, JD, on what you thought of this one. Obviously, it was a crushing loss. What was the reaction afterwards from the people that you talked to?
Yeah, just stunned and the belief that the 49ers let one get away. I mean, just Diamador Lenore talked about complacency. I mean, Kyle Shanahan with, again, special teams opening the door for the Rams, who were basically lifeless, down 14-0 with an 80-20 crowd in their home opener, already 0-2, and the 49ers seemingly in complete control of the game. But the fake punt, and the Rams pick up a first down, and then everything kind of changed from there. The Rams, from that point on, were in a much better offensive rhythm throughout the course of the game. And look, Brock Purdy was still doing his thing and finding Juwan Jennings. And I think overall the Niners probably didn't get what they wanted out of the running game and Jordan Mason offensively, but they were moving the sticks with Purdy to Jennings. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough if they could have played, just steady on special teams without a couple of catastrophic mistakes, and I'm not even talking about the Moody kick. I mean, that's a 55-yarder. That's no gimme. I understand Kyle's faith in Moody because he's, made every kick to this point this year and, seemingly has put some of the iffiness from last year behind him, at least to this point. Now, maybe that pops up again, but it kind of felt like everything was going the Niners' way. I thought they had it at 14-0. I thought they had it at 21-7. And I thought they had it at 24-14, but they wind up allowing Matt Stafford and the Rams offense to get back in the game. And when you give a great quarterback that opportunity and a great play caller in Sean McVay, you don't finish the deal, that they can run you down and beat you. And I think that's what happened in this one.
What was the mood like in the room? Because you're there. JD joins us. We should give him the correct intro. JD joins us from SoFi. He's got boots on the ground there. Flew down there, was part of the pregame, probably stopped by with London Copeland on the postgame already. What was the locker room mood in LA compared to last week in Minnesota? Any difference at all?
Yes, definitely different. I mean, last week was played a bad game, got beat, deserved to lose. Tonight was stunned. Tonight was gave the game away. Tonight was almost disbelief. I mean, I got the sense that a lot of the guys, while they were doing their best to say what needs to be said, when you suffer a defeat like that, I think a lot of the guys were still trying to just process the fact that they had even lost the game, to be perfectly honest, given the way that it played out with all of the score advantages that the 49ers had and just the way that it all went down. So, no, this was very much a stunned, shocked, trying to figure out what the hell just happened, because you look at, the Rams with all the guys they had out and the way that they've played the first couple of weeks of the season. I mean, this is one that's going to sting. And I think, has the potential if the Niners can't quickly get back on track. And look, they're not going to be any healthier next week than they were today. Yes, they're going home. Yes, they're facing the Patriots and the Cardinals. But this was a real missed opportunity, despite the Niner flaws, to look up 5-6 weeks into the year and maybe still be 4-1 or 5-1. Like, that's gone. Like, maybe it's 4-2, maybe it's 3-2, obviously, if they can win the next two. But I think there was just a thought that, today just flat out shouldn't have happened. And I think it's unique in the regular season under Kyle Shanahan, since this team has been good. They don't lose games in this fashion in the regular season. Now, they've lost one in this stadium to the Rams in the NFC Championship game. They've lost a couple of Super Bowls in this fashion, but in the regular season, typically they come up with the one play, whether it's Ronnie Bell makes the catch on the drop, which is just that's just a play that has to be made. He makes that catch, the Niners win the game. We're having a different conversation. I mean, flat out. Moody makes the kick. We're having a different conversation. The Niners know that the fake punt is coming and actually stop it. We're having a different, maybe this thing turns into a 38-17 blowout, victory. So all of these different things, and then just the inability to cover the punt too, at the end, after you finally have to give the ball back to the Rams with the game tied. I mean, just a calamity, honestly, and a lot of guys in disbelief in that locker room. I thought the most unfortunate part of all of it was the fact that you have a guy like Juwan Jennings, who has the career game that Jennings had, and he was so just disgusted by what had happened, and not in a demonstrative way or anything like that, that he just declined to talk. He didn't want to talk. He didn't want the day basically to be about him and, oh, great game, but you guys blew it. Like, he didn't want to be the one guy shining on a day where the team is gutted in the way that they were gutted. So back to the drawing board, 1-2 at the bottom of the division right now, and having to work their way back up here with 14 games to go.
By the way, on the Ronnie Bell front, guess how many drops the 49ers had tonight?
I think, was it 6?
6.
I had them for 6.
6 drops just from the receivers. I don't know.
Well, there were 8 incompletions, right? And it was
Purdy was 22 of 30 and had 6 drops. That he could have been 28 of 30
for 350 or more.
Yes, 28 of 30 for 350 or more. But the drops, and I'll give you another one. Penalties. 7 penalties for 113 yards. It's another one. Too many drops, too many penalties, too many screw ups on special teams. I mean, it's crazy.
What's it going to take for these guys to start valuing special teams even a little bit?
What do you do, though? What do you do? They changed out the coordinator. They changed out some of the players. They've spent money on that side of the ball. They've invested draft capital, God knows, in specialists. I mean, what would you do?
It just, I don't know. And maybe this is already even in week 4 and an off season thing as we approach week 4 next week again. But like, I just, they got to take it more seriously. Cause here's the thing, you can do that when you're dominant offensively and you're dominant defensively, then you can kind of say, you know what, special teams don't screw it up. But the Niners are not truly dominant when they're down as many weapons as they are offensively. And we're seeing now for 2 consecutive weeks that they're not dominant defensively. Like they just, and they're a hell of a lot closer to whole defensively than they are offensively, obviously, but they're not a dominant defensive team. Like they're a little old in some areas. They can't stop the run in some areas. Teams are attacking their safeties. Teams are attacking Isaac Yiadom again today. Yiadom got attacked. Devondre Campbell, when he's out there in passing situations, they're splitting Campbell and Yiadom and going after wherever those guys are. If they're in zone, they're looking for 22 and making him cover and make plays, and he's not doing it. And again, you saw O'Connell do it, and now you saw, I mean, even the Jets did it the first game of the year on the one drive that they had. With Garrett Wilson kind of getting after it and Rodgers finding some soft spots in the zone. So the bottom line, I say all that to say, as great as Fred Warner is, as great as Nick Bosa is, as much as, Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos might be improvements over the last couple of years as extra rushers, they're not as good on the interior. They're just not. And Javon Hargrave's banged up now coming out of this one, so we'll see what happens there. They don't have Dre Greenlaw, which I think hurts their run defense, and it just hurts their overall physicality and toughness. Like Devondre Campbell and D Winters ain't going to be that guy either. Like, I know you love D Winters, but he ain't coming in and being Dre Greenlaw, so they're weaker there.
Aziz Al-Shaair is not walking through that door.
No, and they need, even Aziz would obviously really help them. So again, I think there are areas to attack. Whether it's the safeties or you look at Yiadom and you've got a linebacker so you've got multiple levels here where you can attack. You can basically, there's a plan of attack for opposing offensive coordinators on the interior of the D-line, at one of the linebacker spots, and at a couple of different places in the secondary. So again, this Niners defense, I think we may have to accept, not that it can't be good, but that it's maybe not going to be great. And when it's not going to be great, then you can't be making a bunch of special teams errors, 3 a game, that cost you. It's got to be tighter in those areas if you're not going to be as dominant on defense. And you got to take advantage of offensive opportunities, which I think the Niners will do as they get healthier. Like I'm not worried about the offense. Like, I mean, now you wasted Juwan Jennings' career game today, and now teams are going to be maybe trying to take him away a little bit more in future weeks. But, to me, I think the offense will be fine. Purdy was really good today. He's starting to find it with Ayuk, although he missed him on a ball that would have been a touchdown. So I'm less concerned about the offense, but the defense and special teams have got to clean it up.
I'm worried about the whole thing. I mean, give you an example. Green Bay lost their starting quarterback, and they've got Malik Willis. And last week they ran the ball 53 times. This week they ran the ball 37 times. They only threw it 19, but they still put up 30. They put up 30 on Tennessee in Tennessee's backyard, and they're winning games with Malik Willis, and they're getting Jordan Love back. So, and Willis ran for 73 yards today and a touchdown in addition to throwing for 200. So a team like Green Bay is coming. And they're going to get Love back, and they're going to have a resurgence late in the year.
No, they're feeling great.
Oh yeah, and they look good. A couple last ones here. We have 100. We just had our 100th super chat. I'll tell you which is number 100 here. We got this one. Heck Dell says, imagine Jennings would see him when CMC and Debo come back. We got this one from Hey Peter Parker. Brock is that dude. Let's see how bad John fucks up those contract talks this offseason. Let Damon cook. Lorenzo Cardenas says EAD is eat a dick, Yadam, gotta go. Campbell too. Thank you for that clarification. And we got this one. This is number 1. This is number 99. Why the fuck are we in the wide 9 at the goal line? Number 100, Treeman McCool Jackson says 49ers should replace special team staff with AI. There you go. It would be cheaper. Niner Grandpa says, talk about firing whoever let Gold go. F Jake. There you go. A nice little comment for Jake. I'm sure if he's watching, he appreciates that. All right. It's time to act. Let's finish up here. We've been going for an hour and 51 minutes. We're going to get out of here right here after this last question. But let's go around the room. Enough chit chat. Enough bitching. Enough moaning. Now it's time for action. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're Shanahan, you're Lynch, you're sitting on the bird, and you're coming back, and you're sitting there, and he's going, fuck, can't believe we're 1-2. He's like, well, what do we want to do? And then the conversation starts. What do you want to do? Okay, we know what the problems are. We just watched it. We've all watched this team enough and discussed it enough to know that, there's more than one problem. So let's go around the room. We'll start with Kev. What do you do? It's time to act. What do you do if you're the 49ers between this week and next week? What do you do?
Well, I'm not going to be able to give you all the answers here, but here's one answer.
Yeah, just give us one. Just one.
Yeah, I'll give you one. You have Isaac Yiadom. I love Isaac Yiadom. But when you're playing a fast team like the Rams had this week with Tutu Atwell, Yiadom wasn't getting it done. I would have liked to see Renardo Green in the slot with the Diamador Lenore outside. Maybe take out Yiadom for a little bit. Maybe even take out Ward if Ward's not your guy, your fast guy. You need speed on the field. You need someone quicker than Yiadom. I would have liked to see Lenore on the outside with Renardo on the inside. And don't let Yiadom get cooked on some of those, on some of those speed receivers because he got burned a few times.
I like it. Danny, what would you do? It's time to act. What are you doing?
Well, my first order of business is I'm cutting Ronnie Bell. Okay, that's a given, and getting me, next man up. I seriously, and I know people think it's crazy. You wait till the trade deadline. I start making phone calls to.
What are you looking for?
A speed receiver. I want to speed the offense. Tyreek Hill might be available. The Dolphins are going nowhere. They got killed today with Tua out. Dolphins season is going to end. Tyreek had a little bit of an issue we heard about, and with the police. Maybe a fresh new start, Tyreek, and see if you can snag him. Why not?
Interesting. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh, that's crazy. I'm just not. I'm at this when we're doing a brainstorming session. We're just throwing out ideas. And I don't think that's a crazy one. I really don't. Rye, you got one? What you gonna act? What are you gonna do? Something that you're either want to do or can do, or Danny wants to trade for Tyreek. What do you want to do? What would you do to jumpstart this thing to make this better?
I mean, look, trading for Tyreek would be awesome, but I don't know. I think about the receiver thing. It is a really crowded room. Like, what even happens when hypothetically Debo, Ayuk, Jennings are there, and then Pearsall is ready to go? Like that's what I didn't really understand with the draft pick. I know I'll give some action, but it just made me think about it again today with how great Jennings was. Like, what exactly was the goal of burning a first-round pick on a receiver when you already have your 3 receivers? Like, I
think the plan was probably to trade Ayuk, and they just didn't because they just couldn't get the deal they wanted. Refused to make a bad deal. And couldn't move Debo or didn't move Debo. I mean, I think that's probably the plan, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah. Then moving Debo might be the plan next year. It just, I don't know. I love that Kyle is so hands-on and he's so controlling, but like that clearly was a Kyle decision. I mean, that's what all the reporting said, is like Kyle's thinking, what do I want to have the best chance to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm just worried that long term, when Purdy gets paid, like, I don't know if the money's in the right places, but I would just say for this week, like, just focus on all the small things, because on the macro, that was the game they wanted to play for the most part. You're used to when the Niners get up, especially when they're up 2 touchdowns, like the game's iced basically. So I would just say focus on special teams and cleaning up the small stuff and the penalties and all that crap, all that stuff that's just, it's like the easier stuff to do. And you see teams like Pittsburgh that like do it so well and they're able to eke out these wins. Like the Niners, if they just get that stuff right, they're going to be fine.
Yeah, the offense really wasn't that bad. The running game wasn't there too much, but they still moved the ball, and they could have had more points if it wasn't for some of the miscues. The defense is really the issue right now.
JD, what do you think? It's time to act.
Yeah, what do you want to do? The defense is the issue for sure. I think more Renardo Green is probably one thing. They got to go next man up, I think, in the secondary there. They also have to figure, I think they need to look at coming up with some kind of a veteran safety. I think they need, like, if you're looking and making calls and trying to scour the market, I know because you've got Hufanga back, but then you've got Jair Brown with him, and like I still wonder if those two together works in the long term. I'd say you need to make a change, with Devondre Campbell, but I don't know that they have the answer there. I think they were intending on getting D Winters in, but the answer there is Dre Greenlaw coming back at some point. And then the other area too, if you're looking to maybe make some kind of a move, like they really need more from their defensive tackles. They're just not getting it. Like they're not getting it in the run. I know Hargrave had a sack today, but he's been like, this is just not the D line room that the 49ers have had. They are just, it feels like between the ends and between the pass rushers and the tackles, it feels like they have like, combined, they have like 5 players that you trust. Like the Niners used to have, and even those guys are not always performing at the level that is needed. Like, the Niners would have 8, 9 guys that you felt like they could trust, and 7 of them were interior defensive linemen. So I think if you're looking to upgrade, I think safety. I think probably linebacker less so, because you're going to give Winters a chance until maybe Greenlaw comes back, and you maybe re-explore that at the deadline. Again, I think offensively they're going to be fine. I'm with Dan on Ronnie Bell. That probably doesn't happen this week because Ricky Pearsall's not quite ready to come back. But I think the moment you get one wide receiver back, he's probably gone. But really, he's insignificant. I mean, he wasn't going to make the team had the Ricky Pearsall thing not happened. Like, he was going to be cut. And so, I think that, to answer the question is what happens when it's full. I mean, that's when Ronnie Bell will go for sure. I mean, again, he wasn't going to be on the team. But I don't know. I think they like his work ethic. They like his intangibles. They like his attitude. Like, he's the quintessential guy that you actually, even in a harsh business, probably feel bad about cutting. But today can't happen. Like, today is like, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You're done. And I think, you want to make that move when you know you're getting a guy back. So I think that, and so I think offensively overall they're going to be fine, but defensively there are areas at each level that really need to be shored up. And then the special teams, just clean it up. No more getting beat on fake punts, no more long returns, make your kicks, which hasn't been a problem until today. And again, it was a 55-yarder. So I'm not really coming down Jake Moody's road too hard on that, even though 55-yarders are made at a much higher rate now than ever before in the NFL. So clean it up. 2 very winnable, and I'm just going to say it, 2 games they should win the next 2 weeks. You should have won today, but on the any road game is losable. Like, I'm a believer that any road game in the NFL, no matter how good you are, no matter how bad the opposition is, any road game is losable. I think today is kind of proof of that, but you cannot lose either of the next 2 at home against inferior opponents, even shorthanded. So get back on track, get the next 2, get to 3-2 going to Seattle. Hope at that point that you're healthier on October the 10th. And then the real season starts those next really 4 games after that.
I would make some personnel adjustments here. I really would. I would cut Ronnie Bell. I'd call Terrace Marshall off the practice squad. That'd be number 1.
You could just flip them too, right? You could just flip them.
Well, but to put anybody on the practice squad, I think they have to clear waivers. I think.
Yeah, if nobody claimed Ronnie Bell, you could ask him if he wanted to be on the
I don't think
squad.
anybody's coming.
Probably this would be a great time to do it because probably nobody would do that. So, I mean, that's the first move I would make. I would add some speed and some veteran and some size and some strength with Terrace Marshall. I think I would promote Keyshawn Vaughn off the practice squad or look for another running back. If they don't feel confident using Patrick Taylor, then he probably can't have a roster spot. And then defensively, I'm trading a 3rd-round pick to the Jets for Hassan Reddick. I really think the 49ers need another edge rusher. I mean, Beal's not giving him much. Floyd's not giving him much. Yatir Gross-Matos, Sam Aquinu. I mean, Sam had a sack today, but I just think they need more edge rush help. I think I would cut Devondre Campbell. I don't think I think you can do better than Devondre Campbell. I really do. I think that they could do better with the guys that they have behind him. I'd rather go with Bethune and Curtis Robinson and those guys than play Devondre Campbell. And then I'm putting Renardo Green and I'm activating Darrell Luter and I'm sitting down Isaac Yiadom and I may have to sit somebody else because I want to activate Luter. I think they're going to have to look at what options they have at free safety because I think that is true. That Hafanga's a box safety. Brown is a box safety. Odom and Mustafa are more box safeties than field safeties. They don't really have that field safety. Now, Renardo Green played that at Florida State. Maybe he could play there. Maybe Luter could play there. I don't know. But they got to find somebody who can cover, down the field at safety. And I would definitely, activate Luter and play Renardo Green over Yiadom. So, I mean, that's what I would do. I'd play Cowing a little bit more, but they need more speed. They need more speed. And I think they need more teeth on their defensive front. Elliott, I don't think played a particular good game today. I thought he was out of place in a couple spots. So a guy like Reddick, I think could make a real impact on this 49er defense. All right, let's call it here, but we've got a couple more supers that we want to get to before we get out of here. Okay, we got this one. Kyle can hawk 2. He never will win a ring, ever.
Jesus.
Jeez. That girl is very popular. Niner Grandpa says Ricky got shot. Ayuk got the bag after the presser. Okay. Perfect Blackness Senior says Shanny's fetish with vets will cost us a six Super Bowl. San Francisco press Please be more like sports press here in Chicago and stop handing Shanny with kid gloves. He wants harsher treatment. All right, guys, that's going to do it. 14-13. Atlanta's beating the Saints, or beating the Chiefs at the half, I should say, 14-13. So I'll be rooting for the Chiefs to come back in the second half. I always root for my cash. JD, safe travels. When will we hear you next on the leader? When will you be back here on the in the Pacific Coast?
Yeah, I'm coming back tonight, hopping right back over to LAX and heading home here in the next couple of hours. So looking forward to that. And then back on tomorrow on Sports Phone after the Giants games. And again, don't just talk Giants.
What time tomorrow?
It'll be right around 9:30 tomorrow. And we'll go as
Giants
long as
playing post game on who?
Giants are at Arizona on KNBR. And the next 3 nights, actually, you'll have me the next 3 nights following the Giants and the Diamondbacks. We're going to talk a lot about the 49ers as well. So that'll be the next time that I am there. And then there's also a major Warriors announcement coming, which I can tease for you guys.
Valkyrie based?
But we have a major Dubs OT / just Dubs announcement that will be made at some point here in the next couple of days. So you guys can think on that.
Look at that.
Make sure you're listening to KNBR and listening to Niners Nightly and listening to Larry and watching the Crew
tease it?
Show.
Is there anything you can do, like tease it, or Lucky Logger caps? There's hints and stuff. Is there anything that we can?
I might have a little teaser tomorrow night. I don't know that I can tease it now without giving it away, but might have a little teaser tomorrow night.
Dank says you had me at Giants. LOL.
Yeah, that's
wait a second. Woodpit 420 says a JD exclusive.
It is Woodpit 420. I appreciate Woodpit 420. He's a regular on the Dubs OT and Just Dubs show. So I love that.
Warrior signed a radio contract with KNBR.
That's not it. That's not it.
That's not it.
I will say that's not it.
Draymond for Giannis.
Wow, look at I love the people just instantly going there.
No.
Trying to figure it out. But yeah, no, it's pretty big time.
McKivitz is the shot blocker that Joe seeks and needs.
He's going to play center. And Draymond's going to be the new right tackle.
The Warriors and Niners. Devondre Campbell goes to the Warriors for Draymond Green. The Niners finally have somebody who can block a field goal. Okay, there you go. Hey, safe travels to JD. JD, have a great one, man. Thanks for jumping in late. We appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow. And maybe we'll get you on Niners Nightly for a hit this week.
Absolutely. We'll definitely figure out a night.
Sounds good. Later, brother.
See you, JD.
Great JD.
See you, JD.
Rye, boots on the ground. What do you got planned for tonight? I mean, hot night in LA. You guys hitting all the hot spots? What are you going to do?
Oh, no.
You're back. You're back.
I'm pretty washed up now. I'll probably just go to bed early and think about my 0-3 fantasy day and 49ers loss. Yeah.
Did we lose in fantasy as well?
We won.
All right. Rye, good to see you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Later.
There you go. The great Rye Smith. And then there were 3. Dan Coach Emilio. Danny, of course, is the czar of at NorCal Sports Network. And he's killed off all of his partners, so he's a solo act now. I know.
I've got co-hosts now.
You've got co-hosts.
I got Lou Marston joining me almost every night now.
Do you really?
Yeah,
my good buddy from high school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lou Marston and I are good buddies.
He'll join us tonight again. Yeah.
Good. Well, tell Lou I said hi. He's a big fan of yours. Danny, tell people if they want to join NorCal Sports Network, do a little plug for your channel.
Yeah, guys. Appreciate it if you'd go over and subscribe to NorCal.
All right, that's enough. No, I was just, that would have been so rude. No, Danny, I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Yeah, appreciate Digital Drew says he'll co-host. Yeah, hit me up, Digital Drew. So long as we don't talk Giants, we can do some Niners talk. We do not just do San Francisco Giants. We like to talk Niners, Warriors. Definitely
you gotta eat.
Niners.
I mean, your family's got to eat.
Gotta eat. Can't live on this Giants crap. So
somebody's like, Larry, you're so rude. Thank you. I'm sorry.
But,
Danny's a buddy, of course.
Hit us up at NorCal Sports Network. We're trying to grow the channel. We're up to about 2,200, almost 2,300 subs. and growing. We want to hit 2,500 here shortly. So if I don't know how many's in here, probably over 1,000.
Try 4,000.
4,000. Wow. Everybody go.
Or 3,500.
There's 1,000. There's 1,000.
NorCal
1,000 on
Sports
YouTube,
Network.
but 2,200 on Twitter.
Not
NorCal
live though.
Sports
That's over the
Network.
course of the entire stream. That's not live.
And hit the subscribe button over there. I got to show you my fantasy baseball team, Larry. I just got to put that up there.
I'm not sure if I'm ready for that yet. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that.
Is that
Are you going to put it up there?
Oh, I did. I couldn't share. I tried to share it, but it wouldn't share. Okay. Oh well.
Yeah, no, you can't share.
Had a big day.
You don't have share capability over here.
Okay.
Niner Grandpa says Niners want to come in and talk Niners. There you go.
Yeah. So go over there to NorCal Sports. We do cover Niners. We're on the Niners a lot. Not like Larry is, of course. Larry's got the #1 show on YouTube.
But you guys are talking Niners over there. So if people
Yeah,
give
we're definitely
Danny a
talking
follow and go over there and check out his stuff, and they do a lot of great stuff, and you'll do some baseball postseason stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll be covering baseball postseason. Had some great guests recently. We've had Ned Coletti join. Dave Dravecki joined us recently from the Giants.
Awesome.
And Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron Rivera was a guest. Go check that show out in the archives. That was a great interview with Ron Rivera. A lot of fun.
Sounds
to
good.
Riverboat Ron, yeah.
Danny, have a great day. We appreciate you.
Right. Thanks. Appreciate you guys too. Talk to you later.
There you go. The great Dan Coachimilio. And then there was two. Kev, you got a final thought on this one, man? This is these loss, these streams after the loss are just so tough to take. 27-24. It's obviously there'll be a lot of bitching and complaining tomorrow on the radio, on YouTube, on everywhere else about
everyone that wants a good follow on Twitter, hit me up on Twitter at Kevin Krugs. I put out some good stuff on there. This was the one I just dropped right now. This is pretty interesting.
Go ahead, read it.
The 49ers had 6 drops. Brock Purdy had 8 incompletions. If you take out the drops, Brock Purdy was averaging 12.2 yards per pass at a 91.7% completion rate. So if Brock Purdy's in your mouth discussing this 49ers loss, I'm sorry, but you're just wrong. You're just wrong. I don't know how. There's no other way to say it other than you're wrong.
Without the drops, he's completing 92%.
Practically
92% on the road against the Rams. There you go.
I mean, yeah, it's just keep that in mind. So I don't want to hear anything about Brock Purdy can't do it without his weapons. He did it. He did it today. It's not the reason they lost.
If by chance you were walking down the street and someone said, "Hey man, Kev, I catch you on the Krug show. I got to go. I got 30 seconds. The Niners lost. Why the fuck did they lose?" What are you first saying to somebody you have 30 seconds to explain this to? Are you saying, you're not saying Brock? You're not saying Shanahan, are you? Are you saying special teams? Are you saying penalties? Are you saying drops? Are you saying nobody besides Juwan Jennings, who's a receiver, did shit? What are you saying exactly? What would be the #1 thing you would say? Yeah, Niners freaking lost. Here's
if
why.
I had to pin it on one thing, I'd say
one thing.
I would say the defense collapsed in the last 4 drives of the game, allowing points on every single drive. I'd also add that the special teams failed you big time on the last drive of the game to set up a winning field goal. I'd say that Brock Purdy gave you a chance and his receivers failed him. I'd add all those three things in there, but I would first start with the defense just because you're going against a Rams team that is missing talent, just like you'd win against a team like the Minnesota Vikings that was missing talent, and they dinked and dunked, they threw crossers, they threw deep passes, and you just got beat fair and square on defensively by Matt Stafford and that Rams offense. And there's nothing really else to say other than you got beat defensively. Now, Brock Purdy played an excellent game and he was diming to his receivers practically every single time he dropped back. He pretty much every single time dimed his receivers. He gave you a chance to win. He set you up in field goal range to take the game-winning field goal, and you just didn't come through with it. So that's what I'd say.
I'd say, you know what? They're a nightmare on the perimeter. They paid Ayuk a ton. They paid Debo a ton. They're both, Debo's hurt. Ayuk's ineffective. They have no speed at all. on the perimeter, on offense or defense. And the speed that they do have, guys like Renardo Green and Cowing, they've got some kind of pecking order or something I don't understand where, older guys get early looks, but whatever, it's week 3 and you're 1-2. So yeah, they're not fast enough on the perimeter offensively. They're not dynamic enough on the perimeter offensively or defensively. Their defense caved down the stretch, and their special teams is below average. And I would say that their new defensive coordinator is not impressive.
There are two things I want to shout out before we end the show here.
Yeah.
One is we are doing a jersey giveaway courtesy of Better. We're going to give out a jersey to the first 100 people that sign up with Better using our link. The winner will get any jersey they want in their size. So we'll pick the winner, and then we'll email you and be like, what jersey do you want? What size are you? And we'll send you a jersey. So potentially a jersey coming your way if you sign up with Better.
Very cool. This live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. And you can use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. We've done it. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. We did a Better lineup for today, and we almost won, but we didn't win because of Ayuk, right? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, we had 3 lineups and we did not hit on them. We were really close to hitting on one, but we actually almost hit on 2. We needed Brandon Ayuk to get 74.5 yards. He only got 48, but we hit on Brock Purdy over rushing. We hit on Tutu Atwell over receiving. We hit on Juwan Jennings over receiving, but we didn't hit on Brandon Ayuk. And then another one, we missed on Brandon Ayuk, longest catch, 23.5 yards. He only had 12 as his longest catch, but we hit on Brock Purdy over passing. We hit on Jordan Mason, longest rush, and we hit on Kyron Williams over rushing yards. So we had some good lineups. Brandon Ayuk sold us today. The other thing I want to shout out, so obviously jersey giveaway, enter the jersey giveaway. Much appreciated. Supports the show. Other thing I want to say is if you like to listen to
Treeman McCool Jackson says father and son gambling together is a beautiful thing, I think. Yeah.
The other thing I want to shout out is if you prefer to listen to the podcast on audio, we have it on audio. So just go to whatever you listen on, Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts, and you can find the Krug Show and give us a rating. Give us a rating and leave us a review. It would really help us out. And that's all I got.
That's all you got. By the way, Kansas City tonight benched Kingsley Sumateia, their left tackle. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, the Niners blew it. They should have drafted Kingsley."
That's what I was thinking too, because there was a lot of people that were like, "I was the guy that said Sumateia was going to be the great guy, and they didn't draft him." Like I was so right. It's like I was like, it's kind of odd to be counting yourself as a winner after week 1. Like, give it some time. Like. This guy's super raw. I played for BYU. Like, I don't know.
Roy Peters, Ronnie Bell should never have made the team. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ronnie, but it's time to go. All right, that does it, and it's time for us to go. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Go check them out. They're in Corte Madera. They're in Emeryville. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. Go say hi to Damon. Go say hi to Mary. Get some brisket chili. Tell them the Krug sent you. Also, Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. And, of course, Better, our good friends at Better, who sponsored this live stream. And we told you all about Better there at the end. So that is going to do it for us. These things was 2 hours, and we're at 2 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
2 hours and 18 minutes.
A long stream.
But we had 105 super chats. So thank you guys. That's unbelievable. I don't think it's got to be a record. I think that's got to be a record. Big Monday. Niners traveling, so we won't be down in Santa Clara, but we will be on at 9 a.m. with Damon Bruce on 49er Wake Up. So check that out tomorrow. And then, of course, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, there will be 49er or Niners Nightly. And I believe it's going to be on YouTube only because I think Giants play tomorrow night. So I'll be on YouTube only tomorrow night talking about this matchup. And we won't take calls, but we'll we'll definitely play a lot of sound and I'll rant and rave and just talk about all the talk tomorrow, sum that up. And then before we look ahead to next week, we'll look back at this one tomorrow night, Niners Nightly at 6 p.m. on the KNBR YouTube channel. And then also tomorrow, I believe in the late afternoon, I don't know exactly what time, 2, 3, 4, somewhere in there, after Shanahan speaks, Grant Cohn and I will stream together on both of our channels. So look for that tomorrow afternoon as well. Kev, have a great night. Thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Appreciate every single one of you guys. Man, rough one, but it's early in the year, and we will fight another day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get